Welcome back to the Screaming Idiots Show. I know that everybody probably gets tired of hearing me say that, but listen, you got to make sure that you're catering to the returning listeners and the new listeners out there. So welcome back, everybody. Glad to have everybody back in, and we got a hell of a show for you today. Solo episode. Actually, this will be our last solo episode of Season 3. We've got some awesome guests coming in for the last 2 episodes of the season. We can say who they are, right? So we've got the guys from
as of now.
Cancellations happen. We've been through a couple of those. We understand people got shit to do, but we've got the guys from Brad and Justin from Sour Blood coming in. We've talked about them several times on this show before, so we're super excited to have those guys come on and talk about a bunch of different shit. And then also Daniel and Andrew from the band Waste of White, who I have fanboyed over plenty on this show. Going to have them in for the season finale, I believe. So looking forward to that.
Waste of White will be first.
Oh, so Sour Blood season finale. Yep. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I don't handle scheduling. I just do the intro and the video.
I would like to mention on that point that we almost have enough people lined up for our 4th season as far as guests go. If you're interested in hopping on the show, let us know.
Hit us up.
Yeah, it fills up fast.
It does fill up fast, but we also, like we said, we have cancellations and stuff, so it helps to be able to fit somebody in.
Yeah, we're really blessed to be able to have people actually be interested and want to come on. And whether you're just a music fan, you're a musician, you're in a band, you're a music producer like Mitch we had on the show earlier this season. I think we're very fortunate to have people that actually want to come on and tell their story and shoot the shit with us. So
well, it's like every person that has mentioned they want to get on the show, they all give us the, I guess, reviews and kind of feedback that we've talked about in the past, where it's just relatable conversations. It's people that they don't have as many people to have these kind of conversations with. They don't get to have these kind of conversations every day. And for them to be able to listen, and I had one guy mention, he's like, you guys are literally taking the thoughts right out of my head.
Yeah.
And I had another one mention that, a buddy from the Rowdy Roadies, he was talking about how it reminded him of sitting out in like these campgrounds during festivals where
Jesus
people
Christ,
just sit
Woodford
around.
Reserve is good.
Once again, we're back on our shit with the bourbons.
Yeah. Hey,
Anyways,
plug that
I'm
shit.
sorry.
Woodford Reserve.
Hey,
All right.
straight Woodford Reserve, baby.
I got the double oak myself.
I got the last of the Heaven's Door.
Yeah, which we talked about on the
last podcast.
That was a bonus content episode.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
But anyway,
sorry, I had to mention that.
Great shit, bro.
So yeah, he was just mentioning how it reminded him of these nights out at these festivals where people just sit around a fire and whatnot and just shoot the shit about music. And he said the thing he loves about these conversations is, even though we sometimes bicker back and forth, sometimes we fight a little bit, it's all in good fun.
Absolutely.
No one gets offended. No one brings politics into it. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's
and for the listeners, these are real conversations that we have in our group chat every day.
Yeah.
Like some of these conversations are fresh. It's not like we prepped for the pod with these conversations.
Someone comes up with a topic idea and says, "Hey, what do you think about this? Can we dive into this?" And we're like, "Fuck yeah, that sounds great." Our saying is, every time we start talking
save it for the pod.
Save it for the pod.
Yeah.
We say that all the time because we've learned to,
it makes us more excited when we talk about it on the pod. And it each of us don't know what each of us are going to say,
right?
Compared to already having that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Together.
And the conversations that we have in our group chat, sometimes we get in little arguments with each other and piss each other off and shit talk other bands that somebody else likes.
We were shitting on each other the other day.
We were shitting on each other the other day. You coming after Bad Omens? I mean, them's fighting words.
I didn't come after them. I just said they're not.
They
don't deserve the hype.
See,
they don't deserve the hype.
All right, this episode took a turn.
Anyways, real quick plug. I do want to thank, by the time this episode comes out, these festivals will have, I think, already happened, both of them, maybe not. But I want to shout out our buddy Jake Perkins at Metalcore Highlights. Talk about him all the time. Wearing our merch, wearing our T-shirt at the Upheaval Festival up in Michigan. Shout out Jake for representing up there.
Love
and
you.
Shout out Tyler Heide for repping our merch, our t-shirt at the Louder Than Life Festival. So spreading the Screaming Idiots Show love out there, getting the word out. That's when we did the merch, we didn't give a shit about money. It's not about making money. It's about having a walking billboard, because we want more of you guys and gals listening to the show, being a part of the Brotherhood, and taking part in these conversations. So everybody that's been wearing our merch these past couple weeks, thank you so fucking much for doing that and being our walking billboards and being our brand advocates. So without further ado, let's dive into this shit.
Let's go.
Preston, you had a fantastic topic that I believe it's been a week since you first thought of it. And I'll let you introduce it, and then we'll kind of start diving into it. So go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so I had some thoughts recently, and there's a specific band that I won't mention yet that we have been back and forth about as of late.
I'll give you a hint. Tyler and I have some apologies to make. Go ahead.
I don't have as many apologies as you do.
I got a lot of apologies.
So yeah, maybe that's a good hint for later on in the show, but it got me thinking about other bands. Not that they did the exact same thing, but something similar happened in regards to the masses of people that followed these particular artists. And I got to thinking back, and I was like, A Day to Remember. It's one band we've briefly mentioned on this show.
Once or twice, not much.
Yeah, and that's not a discredit to them, but maybe just because they're still putting out new material, but it's older to us to where we haven't delved into them in a long time.
Not since this week.
Yeah. So
yeah, since you brought the topic up.
So I wanted to talk about A Day to Remember in a way that what were they doing at the time that was so different, and why is it that they blew up the way they did and became the absolute biggest band in the scene at that time? I got to thinking. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think we'll all have a similar but different take on this, so go ahead.
Or some pieces that maybe we haven't even thought of.
Yeah, for sure.
So I got to thinking, and I'm like, man, why? And A Day to Remember wasn't my favorite, but I always liked them.
Yeah.
Very similar to you.
Yo, absolutely. Yeah, dude, they got some fucking jams.
Yeah, they got, they can write the fuck out of a chorus.
They can just write the shit out of a song, man.
So I tried to revert back, and I was thinking, I'm like, so there were these elements of punk music that they had, but then they would bring in these chugs and these screams into their music, but then they would have not a ballady chorus, that's not the way to put it, but just a chorus that brought people in, and maybe it was a punkier type chorus, but it was this mesh of these certain few genres of music that brought so many different kinds of people together, whether it was musicians themselves or it was just music listeners that were into punk, that were into poppier stuff, that were into metal music. And it just, I think back and I'm like, man, they did such a good job at pulling all of that together at once. And I mean, there's a reason they blew up like they did and controlled the fucking scene for 5-8 years.
Oh yeah.
Oh, every bit of it.
Go ahead, man.
Sure. Okay. So it's so funny when you first mentioned this topic, and I started diving back into the discography, and again, remembering how much I loved this shit when I was younger.
You remember The Downfall of Us All in the Locker Room?
Yeah, bro. The entire Homesick album, dude. Yeah. That's 2009. I mean, we're in high school.
Yep.
So I got to thinking, and I'll dive into my point here in a minute, but I was like, was A Day to Remember one of the very first bands that really started to like cross genre shit and bring, now obviously they weren't one of the,
Yeah.
But in the metal scene, specifically the metalcore scene, were they one of those first bands that really started to pull at all these different groups of fans and get them here in this same area? And the reason
the dark side.
Yeah, the reason I say that is they had so many different elements, and you said it, of punk, of pop, of metal, of gent, of all these different subgenres of music. And I said it, right before we hit the record button. It's like, man, you had people that would have been listening to Fall Out Boy,
yes,
that came and listened to. I mean, the emo scene, bands that were listening to Fall Out Boy, bands that were listening to
Mayday Parade.
Atreyu, or all these different levels of music, and like you said, even the pop scene.
Yeah.
They were able to incorporate so many different elements of all those different styles of music and put them into one. And we'll get into other bands that have done that. We've talked about a little similar topic to this of like gateway bands, bands that are great. Hey, how do you, if you were to get somebody that's never listened to metalcore, bless you, allergies bugging you? Buddy?
I'm struggling.
Well, I mean, would Sleeping with Sirens and Amity Affliction exist if it wasn't for The Day to Remember?
I wish Amity didn't exist, but yes.
But you get what I mean. I mean, at the time, like it
YouTube's
felt
gonna
like
see my sweaty ass forehead because it's hotter than fucking here.
It felt like A Day to Remember was able to cultivate so many of these other bands at the time because of what they did. And not that it was all it was all the same thing, because it wasn't, but
no, it's so if you think about, and I don't want to dive in too big of a rabbit hole here before I let Tyler speak, but if you think about a song like If It Means a Lot to You, or hell, even Sometimes You're the Hammer, Sometimes You're the Nail, those songs are all over the place, and they invoke so many different feelings in one song, much similar to a band we're going to talk about later. Which is kind of why we're having this episode. So we'll tie in another band that everybody really likes. It'll make sense when we get there. But these songs that can invoke so many different feelings in a 3, 4, 5 minute period. Man, there wasn't a lot of bands doing that in 09, 2010, 11. You were either here or you were here.
kind of.
And A Day to Remember was doing a lot of that shit in the in-between and kind of mixing all these different elements into one.
Or as a listener, you listen to multiple genres of music, but not in one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Not
And
in one.
I think that's why they were big for us in high school, is because, man, we were so stuck in this Kill Switch Engage, All That Remains, Bullet for My Valentine, like this straight up metalcore vibe of, this is what we listen to and this is it. And then we start listening to that Homesick album and it's like, oh, well, this is different.
Well,
and I
even
really
before
fucking like
Homesick, but I do believe it was Homesick that truly got us hooked.
it. Yeah, that was the album that got
I
me
know
hooked
there was
anyways.
an album before, or maybe a couple albums before that I really
Might have
liked.
been, but Tyler, go ahead and make your point, brother.
I will start by saying that earlier on, I fucking hated A Day to Remember.
Okay.
So when I was in high school and I was, listening to the shit I was listening to, more hard rock, sometimes heavier shit. But the heavier shit I was listening to was things like Under Oath.
Yeah.
I would dabble a little bit in Kill Switch. Wasn't something I listened to on the regular. A little bit of like death metal and things like that. When I heard A Day to Remember in high school, I was like, these
What's this
dudes are
shit?
fucking pussies.
Yeah.
But in the manner that I typically heard them was people who really didn't listen to metal, that
Okay.
were listening to this new band. There were a lot of girls that listened to A Day to
yeah.
Remember,
Yep.
and so I'm kind of outside looking in, judging the book by its cover kind of thing, and I'm like, based
in
on
all
the people that I'm seeing listen to this isn't really what they do. This isn't really what they listen to. There's something about this band that just isn't right to me. So I really didn't give them a fair chance.
In all fairness, we were the same way at first because just like you said, we're like, these guys are fucking pussies. What's this soft ass shit?
Yep.
Right. But like, dude, something's banging around outside.
Well,
I-
reason
hopefully we got-
reason I looked at y'all weird for a second, and the camera was probably gonna see it as well. I thought somebody was robbing our ship for a second,
did
but the
too,
wind's
homie.
picking up, and I think we might be getting a storm.
I
soon.
hope so. We need some
We
fucking
need
rain.
some rain
Side
back.
point. Farm guy over here. We need some fucking rain.
Well,
I know.
anyway, so back to A Day to Remember. I didn't really give them much of a chance until after high school. And it was, I'd say, somewhere around 2015-ish.
Oh, so you got into him late.
that I started really giving them a fair chance and kind of diving back into some of their stuff at the time. And that's when it hit me that motherfuckers are awesome.
Great, bro.
Look, I'm gonna break this shit down for you.
Let's
Look,
go. It's a breakdown.
the vocals, right? When I hear him sing, his clean vocals, it is punk
Yes.
all
All
the
the
way.
way.
And
Yep.
it's melodic,
Yep.
and it's oh, dude.
When
Oh my Lord Jesus. Look, when that dude sings, it's not like he's doing anything super spectacular. Does he have good range? Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Does he have pretty good tone? Yes. Is he going to go down as one of the greatest vocalists ever? Fuck no, he's not. But goddamn, that dude would hit a chorus, and these motherfuckers would not miss.
No.
They would not miss. Every
Nope.
chorus is a banger. And I'm like,
Yep.
fuck, dude.
Yep.
And it's not even like a bunch of cheesy bullshit either.
No,
it's
they're
good.
elite songwriters, bro.
Oh, man.
They're
Look,
such
Bro,
good
if I look
songwriters.
through their top
these
songs,
dudes' choruses hit me, and I'm just like, a day to remember kind of day. Let's do it.
Yeah,
So,
it's a day to remember. you
yeah,
know?
it is a day to remember.
Oh god, that was an awful pun. I'm gonna go fucking kill myself.
I'm looking through just Apple Musicing.
But
their
anyway,
top songs.
Musicking.
Yeah.
but anyway,
They got banger after banger after
Then-
banger, dude.
then listen, shut up. Listen.
Sorry.
So then he screams, right?
Yeah.
And bro, that's straight metalcore.
Yeah. He's got some elements of it.
Like,
too.
that's-
I think that their front man doesn't do the cleans, right? Or does he do it all?
does it all
He
as
does
far
it
as
all?
I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
He might have
I think
some
there's a little
backup
bit of
vocals.
backups in there,
Yeah.
but
Okay, fair enough.
he does pretty much all of it. And when he screams, I'm like, dude, that's metal as fuck, bro.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, damn.
Well, I mean, you got
So I'm sitting here listening, and I'm like, the punk me is just losing his shit, and then the metal me is like stank facing in the breakdown.
In the verses.
Disrespect your surroundings.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's like
man.
elements of crabcore.
Yeah,
like,
and then there was like, there was a
Yeah.
little bit of that
Yeah.
crabcore in there with the.
Let's go. Oh yeah, baby.
You had some of the chanting and whatnot.
Yep.
Now here's one of the biggest complaints I had about them, and it was the chanting. So that
Because he thought it was cheesy.
second album,
It's
Hold on.
It's,
Homesick.
yeah.
Yeah, so Homesick. There was a lot of that
Second
that
album
chanting.
would be Old Record, then Homesick.
Okay. So
Oh,
third
I don't
album.
have the other. I must be missing one. Anyway,
I'm missing one.
so I'm hearing this chanting and stuff, and I was like, man, this is like stupid. Why the fuck is this in there?
Mm-hmm.
But then you come down to
Bro, there's so many good fucking songs
like
on that album.
look, there are, but
So
it's the
many.
chanting just
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. But then you come into like What Separates Me From You
Yep.
and Common Courtesy.
Yep. What Separates Me From You, I love that
There's
album.
still some of that chanting in there, but it's more tasteful.
Like tastefulness.
And it was probably, now that I'm looking at it, it was probably the album Common Courtesy when I really kind of started getting into them a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was hearing that tasteful take on adding in some of that chanting and whatnot. But they were also doing songs like End of Me and what was the other one? Best of Me and End of Me, I think, where like there was some acoustics shit in there, and then they just came
You hijacked
slamming
song
in.
titles from them, bro.
We did. Actually, we had them before them, so fuck them.
I don't know which one I like better, Common Courtesy or Homesick. Those are my two favorite albums from them.
Ooh, mine's I think mine is What Separates Me From You.
Is that the? I can picture the album cover in my mind.
The dude in the hourglass
Yep,
in the
that's
city.
it. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, vocally they were pulling a lot of influence from these two major kind of subgenres that were emerging at the time. Well, I mean, punk had
Punk
been
was
around
already a
for a
thing,
while.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
but,
they
it was
were-
like
they
a
were-
modern punk.
Yeah, it was like a modern punk, and they're pulling that, and then they're
You were
pulling
adding
these
breakdowns to punk
metalcore
music, yeah.
screams, and then you come to like the guitar work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the guitar work a little bit.
Oh,
Uh,
twist my arm.
Anyway, so look, heavy as fuck. Chugs,
Nick
man.
Nocturnal would be losing
That
his fucking
shit
mind,
was
bro.
Chug City, bitch, and I was, you
Dude,
know,
but their
in high
drummer-
school, I was cool with it, but it wasn't my favorite thing, and I thought like the Chugs were somewhat of a cop out, but
because
late-
it was an easy fill.
it was an easy
Yeah.
fill. It was something easy to do, but at the same time, Screaming Evidence songs, we did a lot of Chugs. So I was like, I
Especially
really
the
can't
old
knock them.
stuff.
The old
Yeah.
stuff was a lot of Chugs.
Yeah.
But the reason for that was because, you know, you had Sean playing a lot of these like bar chords and power chords and shit like that. And I wasn't much of a lead guitarist. So what I would do is do more rhythmic shit behind him. And I would use the Chugs as like this rhythmic thing to kind of show like the difference between the two guitars instead of us playing exactly the same thing. So there was a lot of Chugs, so I really couldn't knock them for that. But you start looking into like their cleans and stuff too. Oh, bro.
And they had
Oh,
really,
bro.
really good clean tone in a time
good.
where clean had almost been. Now I know we're talking the difference of like 2004, 2005 to about 2000, anywhere from 10 to 15. 2005, in my opinion, was like prime clean tone. There was some of the best fucking cleans in the world out there in like 05, especially like Bullet. Make you wet your pants. So
I do like to do that.
what?
What?
That's metal as fuck.
Morty, you gotta get. I gotta. What do you think of this flying vehicle, Morty? Anyways, the cleans I feel like had been somewhat forgotten in that early 2010s into the 2010s, and they did a amazing job of creating a beautiful clean tone, but also, you know, picking out chords and making a really pretty,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And something that you guys, Screaming Evidence, loves to do is pick out a chord. And those guys were doing it at an elite level. Another thing I loved about the guitar work, and I'm going to tie in drums into this, their drummer is a fucking masterpiece, dude. He is incredible.
He is not a bitch.
No, he is not a bitch at all. The fact that they Chugs, I agree with your sentiment that a lot of times Chugs can get annoying or feel like a cop out.
Yeah, they get overused.
Yeah, they
sometimes.
do. They're
do.
an easy fill. Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's
But
I get it.
sometimes.
But sometimes.
Sometimes, man.
So they did a fantastic job of tying in Chugs, matching them with the double bass. Everybody knows it. All their, a lot of their songs have a lot of that, matching the double bass with the Chugs. And for me, it created an atmosphere of, holy shit, this isn't just boring ass Chugs. This is
Yeah.
fucking beating the shit out of me.
Well, they use them so timely, man. They use them
Yes.
so timely.
And that brings me to another aspect is one of the things that, you know, we were doing in Screaming Evidence even early on, and we got complimented on a lot, would be us switching from clean to distortion to clean.
You do that
and,
a lot.
And going back and forth. And A Day to Remember was doing that.
Yep.
And they did it really fucking well. And I don't think there's a lot of bands out there that do it very well. A Day to Remember did it. They fucking killed it. And so many of their songs have elements of both in such a tasteful way, and they blend together perfectly. And it's really hard to kind of go from like, you know, maybe a clean verse into distortion, but then come back to clean. It's like, man, it's kind of hard coming out of distortion and going back soft. But they did it really well.
When it comes to most influential or most important in the heavy modern metal world, man, you got to put them on that list.
Yes, you do.
You got to put them on
you
it,
do.
regardless
Yep.
of how. And
Whether you loved them, hated them, or were
in between,
indifferent.
yeah, you got to put them on
Yep.
it because the amount of fans from different genres.
Dude, they were giant.
Yeah, dude.
They were huge.
I mean, they were the biggest band in the world for a while.
I mean,
In metal.
specifically in that scene. I don't know about in metal,
Go
but I
think
know
about
what you
Warped
mean.
Tour. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
like, yep.
you know, that was one of the
Yep.
biggest bands to go see
I
on
mean,
that.
our
I
buddies
have
were
I
giant
have
at
a
Day to
slight
Remember fans.
theory though too. I think part of their
Okay.
popularity came from them being able to captivate the audience of women.
Yes. Yep.
Which is extremely important.
Yes, because
Which,
look,
boy,
look,
that ties in
you
the
know
band
what?
we're
You
talking
know
about
we're
next.
we're gonna
Show.
we're gonna go there. We're gonna
Worship.
go there. Look, if
Worship.
there's hot chicks at every one of your shows, there's gonna be a lot of dudes
I
there
think
too.
my car is sorry, but I think my car is getting
chokehold.
beat by something outside right
No,
now.
so there's a tree branch kind of hanging down,
So my
and
car's
it's
getting beat by
it's
a
probably
tree branch.
tapping on the roof here.
Okay.
So that's probably
You
where a
got
lot of the
insurance?
noise is.
Oh.
Just
Yeah,
get me a new car. Fuck it.
but
Worship.
Anyways,
but I remember like a lot of chicks really loving A Day to
loved
Remember,
them. Yep.
and
Not just chicks. Hot ones.
hot ones,
Not ugly ones.
Hot ones.
Goth girls. Emo girls. Hot ones.
scene girls.
Scene-
Girl. Jesus Christ.
Shout out my boy Carson Ferguson, because I know you listen to the pod. And you love goth and emo girls.
Yeah.
my
Oh,
guy.
I love them so much.
You know what we're talking
so
about.
much. Look, you put a hot pale chick
With
in
black hair,
it's over. It's
black lipstick.
you know what? Take my child
I'm sorry,
support.
honey. I'm sorry,
We're
honey.
good.
I love you. I love you. Ignore this.
Don't
God.
love you that much.
Skip.
Goth girls. Chef's kiss.
Yep.
So no, and that's huge because we've talked about it on this pod. Is like, man, I want to capture more of a bigger female audience. I want to capture because there's so many female metalheads out there. We've got some that interact with us on Twitter, which is awesome. One of them, her Twitter handle's Metalcore Shawty. She's out of
Sweet.
Canada, so shout out Metalcore Shawty.
Hell yeah. What's up, girl?
So I always trying to capture, a more, more of the female audience because y'all are women drive so much of the metal market because the men that are in it are always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Always going to be there. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you can drive interaction, engagement, downloads, concert tickets, merch, whatever it might be, it's going to be with the vast majority of women.
Mm-hmm.
So a band like A Day to Remember being able to kind of corner that market
Mm-hmm.
in a business sense was fucking
At that
massive for
time?
them, dude.
Mhm.
When
Massive.
punk music was kind of going away.
Oh,
like-
for sure.
And another
But
thing,
the emo scene was huge.
It was popping, baby.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Huge, bro.
Hey, I love that the emo scene was popping while I was in middle school and high school.
Same.
Because
Middle
that was
school,
like
dude.
my favorite part of life. That's what kept me going in those times.
I remember doing the Soldier Boy at fucking middle school dance, and then a Fall Out Boy song would come on. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go, let's go. Somebody play A Day to Remember.
Well, and that's the other thing that we've pretty much talked about already, but it's like when you think about their music, even though several songs had really awesome parts, whether it's guitar, it's drums, it's vocals, they gave a fuck about the song.
Oh yeah.
If
They
it's-
weren't writing
If it's
just-
not a good song, we ain't fucking with it.
No, and I said it
putting-
earlier. They were absolutely incredible songwriters. Their lyrics are amazing.
Yep.
And the way that they would, and I said it, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but the way that they could invoke emotion with their songwriting and their lyric structure is rare these days. And it was really rare back then in
Yeah,
the
I
age
just-
of crabcore.
I just think it's so interesting to take a step back and think about like how big they fucking were at the time, because they were a big fucking deal.
Like I said, I think there was a time where they were the biggest band in the world in that scene.
Yeah.
When I say biggest band in the world, no, I mean, yeah, I understand Breaking Benjamin was there, Linkin Park was there. There was a lot of those more radio-friendly bands. Man, I'm getting soft. I said radio-friendly, not Octane Core, Dad Rock. There were some of those, Shinedown, Seether. Yeah, we get that those bands were. But I'm talking in the actual heavy metalcore scene. There was a time where A Day to Remember
They
was
were
the
a
biggest
big
band.
fucking deal, man.
Which, God, that's interesting. It's like, who's the biggest band in the metalcore scene now?
Shit.
I'm not trying to take us down a rabbit hole, but it did just kind of make me think of who the biggest band in the metalcore scene is
I
now.
would say it'd have to be either like Moz or Currents.
I would agree with that.
Currents is a bigger deal than Moz right now.
Probably, yeah. I would say it's
Right now, but yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
Currents.
it's probably recency bias because they dropped an album.
Motionless. I mean, because they appeal to.
So
they're kind
many
of like a Day to
types.
Remember, dude.
Yeah, they
You
are.
know, they appeal to
Yep.
so many people.
Yep.
But true. Now, I could. Yeah, again, I know we hate genres and all that stuff. but
Subgenres.
Subgenres. When I think about like metalcore, what I picture is Currents. Like that's like.
To
Well, I
me,
think-
to me, like they're new age metalcore, but it's just modern metal. To
Yeah,
me,
it is.
Right.
But man, I'm telling you, they might be in this. In
Because
that
like when I
scene.
think metalcore, and I think you would agree, when I think
me, I
metalcore,
would agree.
I think Bullet, Kill Switch, As I Lay Dying,
Under Oath.
Trivium, All That Remains.
Yeah.
Like that's metalcore to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And maybe a little bit of Parkway years later
Yeah.
and bands like that. But then
modern metal.
nowadays, like I know they call it metal.
They do.
Here
It
we
is.
are going down genre talk. Fuck. It's modern metal, damn it. You know what I mean? It's just modern metal, and there's.
How about
several
just the
different
biggest
types
band
of
in the world in this scene
Mm.
right now?
this
Currents?
scene being
it. Yeah,
Metalcore, goddammit.
because Bad Omens is pretty fucking huge right now.
I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah, Bad Omens is monstrously popular right now.
'Cause of
but the
TikTok.
thing is they got big with a non-metalcore album.
which we're going to talk about.
We're going to
that.
talk about that.
a version of that.
So, and just like the rain. Man, I'm dropping all kinds of hints. Everybody knows who we're going to talk about next. But
Yep.
anyways, so yeah, Bad Omens very well could be.
So in regards to A Day to Remember, do you guys have anything else to add about those guys?
No, I just want to. I really want to drive the point home of.
I do, but
Okay,
ahead.
go ahead.
no,
Mine's
no,
like
no,
a final
you're-
thought. No.
you're-
Mine's like a final thought. Go ahead.
Okay, let's talk about this. I once upon a time on the pod mentioned that there's not enough positivity in metal.
We had a
and
fantastic
metalcore.
discussion about
It was
that.
a great discussion.
Actually, we talked about it twice because Derek mentioned
Yep.
it on his
Mhm.
second,
Yep.
his return to the
So
show.
what I love about A Day to Remember,
They have some uplifting ass shit.
most of their songs are very uplifting.
Yep.
The chorus is almost empowering.
Yep.
And when I'm having a bad day, there are a few things that I go to if I need to lift my mood up.
Yeah,
A Day to
same.
Remember is one of them.
Yep.
Paramore is another.
Ooh.
I ain't gonna
Love
lie,
Paramore,
bro.
bro.
If I, look,
Love
if I,
Paramore.
Well, dude, that
if I'm upset and I'm like,
I
you
kinda
know, road
prefer
raging
Flyleaf,
and
but
stuff
I
like
don't.
that,
Really?
I'll listen to Paramore because something about her
Actually,
voice soothes
bro,
me.
and that's
I really
that's
do
like
Paramore.
you're starting to mention bands, and I'm like, A Day to Remember did that because of Paramore, Mayday Parade. What are some of those other punk alternative bands at
Fall
the
Out
time?
Boy.
Fallout Boy, yeah, but that was like the biggest. But there's so many others.
Look,
man.
there's
Would you
a
put
certain
Red
level of
Jumpsuit in there?
positive.
somewhat, somewhat.
And I
Kind of,
might
kind of.
be
They're,
out
they're
on
more
the-
punk,
Yeah,
but
they're more
it's
punk.
not. It's kind of a different kind of punk. There's kind of different types of punk.
Hawthorne Heights.
There
kinda-
you
But,
go. Hawthorne Heights. That's another one.
Here's what I'll say. There in a lot of the punk those days, there was a lot of that uplifting, kind of positivity, but also it's like they would kind of set it up in the verses with some sad shit. This is the kind of stuff we're dealing with, and then the chorus comes in and like empowers you to deal with whatever it is. And I fucking love that about A Day to Remember because they do it so fucking well.
Yeah.
And even the music itself, if you take the lyrics out, you take the vocals out, and you just listen to the music is uplifting. We talk about evoking emotion
Yep.
through music, and
what we're
I
all
could
about, man.
just listen to the instrumentals themselves, and I could tell that what they're trying to portray is more positive, it's more uplifting, and it's like they want their audience to kind of put themselves in that space of, hey, this is some of the turmoil you're going through, right? We relate. We're dealing with the shit. You're dealing with the shit. Let's talk about it a little bit. But hey, guess what? We can fucking make it through this.
Yep.
So
We can make it through the fucking day.
The end. You all know what I'm talking about when I get to it. the end of Sometimes You're the Hammer, Sometimes You're the Nail. I want to know the master
fucking
plan.
love
like
that song.
the way, like that whole song. If you've
what's
never
the song?
if you've never listened to that song and you're listening to it, you're like, man, this is a fucking rager. And then it gets to the end and you're
That
like,
clean part's the best part about the song.
you're
dude.
like,
it's the
what?
best part about the song.
What is this?
I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember the lyrics. I can't remember
And
it.
then I sent you
There's like a
guys-
breakdown. There's like a bridge
Well, and
they
sometimes
do.
you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail.
Is that it?
Off of Common Courtesy.
Play the song
on.
real quick. Play it out loud.
Play
remember
quiet,
it if
so
you need
copyright. You know.
Uh,
A day to remember, we're heaping you with praise. If you come
Yeah.
after us for copyright,
Yeah, that's some
you.
bullshit.
That's some
Fuck
bullshit.
y'all.
We'll shit on you next episode.
yeah, don't turn into Avenged Sevenfold.
Hang on.
Yeah. Oh, tick. Yes. Wait, bro.
That guitar tone
Oh.
is elite, bro. That
This is the one.
squishiness, the squishiness to
You
the
can
guitar
hold it to the
tone.
mic. Fuck it. They're not gonna come after us.
This song.
They might not,
This is
but
my
their
favorite
publisher
song by
might.
them. This is my favorite.
Same. That's
Hang
mine
on,
too.
let me
That
get
part-
the lyrics.
That part made me
And it's-
break.
I
I
You know-
reserve my right to feel uncomfortable, reserve my right to be afraid.
Yep.
I make mistakes and I am humbled every step of the way. I want to be a better person. I want to know the master plan. Cast your stones, cast your judgment. You don't make me who I am.
Bro.
Yep.
I reserve my right. And then he just repeats a little bit of
So,
it.
But he's more
He
angry
gets
when he
more
says
angry
this.
the second time.
So
yep.
that
Oh,
song
man.
is not like even in the top 20 of their most streamed.
I know.
And I'm like,
it's
why?
my favorite.
And
It is amazing,
that
dude.
is
Yep.
some of the most
That put-
beautiful
that gives me chills.
songwriting.
Yep.
Absolutely. That is some of the most amazing songwriting they've ever done.
Yep.
And that I keep talking about that song because it's head and shoulders my favorite one of theirs.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of the journey that it takes. Bro, I
it
could
seems
tie
like they're
that
kind of
back
talking
to
about
like
their journey.
it is. You could tie that back to a song that we talked about before on the show, which is "Distance" by Boys of Fall. That is just this big emotion-invoking journey. That the whole song is this roller coaster of emotion, and that song right there is just like, feel this pain with me, feel this struggle with me.
Yep.
But we're gonna get through this shit.
Right.
Like you talk about being uplifting and having Preston. You talked about having uplifting lyrics. Fuck around if they don't do it in that song, man.
Yep.
Like, you want to talk about that is a confidence building song. Like, hey man, I ain't the only one that's like, what the fuck's going on in my life right now? Like that song right there, man, because you just get your anger out and then
Yep.
and then you feel I'm not alone
Yep.
in this shit. So I'm telling you, man.
I know I tend to be the one to bring it to the emotional side, but
I
on
do
an
it with you,
emotional,
it's all
yeah,
good.
you I love you.
I love you. It's all good.
But
I'm gonna
on that emotional level with A Day to Remember and what they've done for me
got
as a
boogies, bro.
listener is really that level of positivity, because like I said, before, a lot of the metal that I listen to, I listen to it when I'm angry, and I listen to it when I'm angry because it helps me kind of release that anger in a sense, so that I'm not taking it out on other people or other things in my life. And A Day to Remember helps me. It's almost like when they get angry, it's not so much anger, it's more hype.
yeah, it's hype. Yeah.
It's more hype rather than
Yeah,
like
it's, we're gonna
we're
get the
here to
fuck
be
out of this
pissed
hole.
off.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna get out of this hole.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we're going to fight through
It's not
this
a
together.
I'm feeling sorry for myself shit.
No, it's not Amity Affliction,
I roll my eyes right out.
bro.
of my
I
head.
swear, every song Amity Affliction
awful.
writes is about almost killing themselves.
They're awful.
It's pretty rough.
I'm dead serious.
So, I just had a revelation,
Speak to me.
Mister. I don't have any spiritual beliefs. That's why you love Christian metalcore. That's why you love Wolves at the Gate.
Don't fucking attack me like this,
Just
bro.
listen. Just shut your fucking mouth and listen. That's why you love Christian metalcore.
Yep.
You want to talk about an uplifting
Specifically
message?
Wolves
I
at the
listen
Gate.
to a lot of
Specifically
Christian
Wolves.
metalcore.
You want to talk about an uplifting
Wolves,
message?
Oh Sleeper,
Oh Sleeper.
Under
there's-
Oath.
Yeah. Bro, As I Lay Dying is a Christian metalcore band.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yes.
how? Dude was
Bro.
gonna kill his wife.
Hey, he wasn't going to do it. He hired somebody else to do it.
Well, just as bad.
That sounds pretty Christian to me.
Okay.
Believe what we believe or we'll kill you. That's Catholics. My bad. That's Catholics.
That's metal as fuck.
No, Catholics is believe. No, you know what? Never mind. I'm about to take us. I was going to take. No, shut up. Shut up.
Catholics are hilarious because they're like, we can do all evil in the world. We just got to go talk to some dude in a weird booth and be
And have
forgiven.
12 kids, and we'll be okay.
And then give him a tug underneath the or let him give us a tug, whatever.
I'm sorry, we shouldn't talk
we
about
we
any
shouldn't
of that.
do that. I don't care what religion you are, but anyways, the uplifting message in so much Christian metalcore, really kind of drives home this point of, hey, there's not enough positivity in metal, but you can find it. It's out there.
Mhm.
You just got to do a little looking for it. And bro, you love Wolves. There is
much.
no more positive and uplifting lyrics and songwriting than those dudes.
So
I mean, A Day to Remember, obviously, but
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go on a bit of a tangent
Go
to
for it, bro. We got all goddamn
agree
night.
with what you're saying, and it's a lot of people do find, that positivity, that grace, if you will, through religion, and because I've never known religion in the way that some of those people do, it lacks in my life.
Mhm.
Right. And so I look for it in other ways that make sense to me. And what makes sense to me is when I hear it in music. Short tangent, but I'll agree. I've never heard it thrown at me that way.
You mean assaulted at you that way? Like, oh, how dare you?
I
come
feel
after me?
feel attacked.
Yep.
But it's okay. That's what boys do.
Well, it's funny because, God, I can relate in so many ways because, yes, I'm a God. I believe in God. That's my, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, all that fun stuff. I hate church. I hate organized religion. Don't do it. Don't like it. Don't go to church. Won't go to church. I mean, I've been drugged there a few times and I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it because everybody in there's a bunch of fake hypocritical. We're better than everybody else. If you do this, you're a piece of shit. Fuck
We go
that
to
shit.
church and we give the church our money.
To do what?
We'll be saved.
We'll be saved.
To do whatever we can do whatever bullshit we want to do and
Yeah,
get
it don't
away
work
with
like
it.
that.
And
But other people can't because then they're pieces of shit. So I
I would, and I'm not an avid churchgoer at this time, but I would say you simply just need to find the right church, most likely.
oh, absolutely.
That's what they've all told me, bro. But ask me how many I've been to, and they all fucking suck.
I've been to a few, and I've enjoyed them, but regardless,
There's only been one that I actually really enjoyed, and it's actually the Gathering Place.
that's where,
You guys been going there?
well, we were for a while.
I just like
until
listening to John.
We started practicing on
You know why I
Sundays.
like there? Because the preacher used to be an alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got real world shit that he
Yeah,
can talk
he ain't
about.
afraid to tell you.
He ain't afraid to
Hell
lay that shit
yeah.
online. I'm like,
that's metal as fuck.
that's metal as fuck.
Yep.
So, but like, I don't like the music. I don't like the, I don't like the people more than anything.
Yeah.
I'm not a people person. So I'm
people very much.
I'm like you.
Yeah,
where
you two fucking hate people.
you love people. Yeah. I find my solace in we said worship earlier. My form of worship is through music with an uplifting message. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a Christian message. It's just an uplifting, positive message that I'm like, I'm grateful for the life I live, and I know who I need to thank for that.
Yeah.
There's
Absolutely.
a big man upstairs that I've got to thank for that, and his son that died on the cross for my sins. That's who I thank for that, and I feel that gratefulness through music that I like Wolves, like I love O Sleeper too. There's certain Memphis Mayfire is another Christian metalcore band that has great uplifting lyrics that I really, really like, and that is my form of going to church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've told Cheyenne so many times, like, babe, if this was the kind of music that was played in church, my ass would be there every fucking Sunday.
Yep.
But it's not, so I'm not gonna be there. But anyways, tying it all back into my final thought of, I really wanted to drive home the point of, when we think about A Day to Remember, everybody needs to kind of really take a step back and go, man, this is one of the most important bands of this genre because of how many people
They've
of
brought
different
to it,
musical
man.
backgrounds they brought to this genre that we love.
I'm trying to think, and I know this will sound off the wall at first, but think about it for a second.
You should
And
take a second.
I
Think
could be
about it.
I could be wrong by stating this as well. Yeah, please.
I finished off your Long Branch, by the way.
That's cool. And I don't know when this band started, so I could be dead wrong when I say this. But I'm just thinking kind of off the wall side of it, not so obvious. Would a band like Dance Gavin Dance be here if it wasn't for A Day to Remember?
Yeah.
You think they would?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're nothing alike.
I'm not saying they're alike, but there's also elements of their poppier stuff that is like, where'd they get the idea from?
The stepping stone of mixing genres.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe in the sense of giving them the balls to do what they do, but in the sense of musical influence, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But half the fuck. Do you think Bad Omens would be here if it wasn't for A Day to Remember?
Nope.
Guarantee they wouldn't.
Nope.
The band we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
I keep saying Amity because I know shortly after A Day to
Musically,
Remember.
Amity does some stuff similar.
Well, and
lyrically, nothing the same. But
Michters or Wichters or whatever.
Mitchers, bro.
Mitchers.
That's
Well,
that's a really good bourbon. Have you had it?
No, I haven't.
It's fantastic.
But Amity was shortly after A Day to Remember.
Yeah.
And A Day to Remember was huge at the time, so I know that A Day to Remember was a big deal for
but
them.
the band we're getting ready to talk about, man, I don't, maybe.
Potentially, yeah.
But
I don't know.
how about some bands that I've talked about before, like Until I Wake?
Yeah. Yep.
Bro, Beartooth.
Yeah.
I can go hard on this conversation. So look,
Yep.
Dude, fucking go.
A Day to Remember. Way to bring it full circle.
Yeah, I brought it full circle.
So
Thank you for pouring that.
A Day to Remember was one of those bands that their influences stretched kind of a wide array, it seems. And so they were bringing in influence from several genres. There's not a lot of bands out there who can say that. And so that's probably one of the reasons A Day to Remember was so huge and so innovative of their time, was because they were mixing so many different elements of, punk, you could say pop because of the hooks or the choruses. Their choruses and hooks, I guess you can say, really were right up there with everything in pop music up to that point. They're bringing in some metalcore, a little bit of riffage, a little bit of chugs, all these different elements. And so you have bands like you were mentioning Dance Gavin Dance. Mm-hmm. Would Dance Gavin Dance have the ideas that they had of being able to, incorporate so many different styles of music into one, if it weren't for a band like A Day to Remember to set the stepping stone? And I'm not saying A Day to Remember was the first, because there was likely,
I'm sure there were several.
There had been several bands before them that had mixed several different elements of different, several different genres together to make their sound. But A Day to Remember was one of those steps. They're one of those steps, and then it just continues to go up the ladder from there. And then you start getting bands like Dance Gavin Dance, and then this next band we're going to talk about, and also
multi-genre,
right?
Bands.
But then also, even with we were talking kind of subgenres and stuff a little bit ago. I've mentioned on this podcast a few times that I feel that punk has a heavier influence on modern metal than old metal.
I agree 1,000,000%.
And I think it was part of that is because of bands like A Day to Remember. And Preston and I had a bit of a conversation around like Atreyu and some of these kind of bands that were
It was like this punky hardcore,
I just heard Become
but
the Bull
metal.
in my fucking head.
Yeah,
I'm
it was like this punky but hardcore but metal.
Dude, punk absolutely had way more influence
so
than
much, man.
Like Until I Wake and stuff are probably more heavily influenced by bands like A Day to Remember than a Killswitch Engage.
Shout out Until I Wake. Thanks for the interaction on TikTok. Appreciate you guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Love you guys.
Hopefully get you on the show.
Would love that.
Sorry, Tyler. ADD.
Yeah.
Do you remember your point?
Kind of.
You had all these.
it was.
bands.
You were just
it
talking
was
about
basically
their influence and stuff.
and you guys are talking about like would certain bands exist without A Day to Remember, and I think it is clearly evident that A Day to Remember deserves a place, kind of like you said, the top 5 of most influential bands
They were
and
Of
metalcore
past
of
20
this kind of
years.
metal
Yeah.
scene of the last 20 years.
They were
Because
almost larger than life at the time, dude.
of what they did at their, the innovations they made in their time when they became big, and how that has likely influenced other bands to do similar things, but in their own way.
I want to move on, but I do want to ask this question because you just brought up a great kind of point there. Are they as on the same level when you think about span of influence and importance as They Lay Dying?
I don't hear about As I Lay Dying as much as I do A Day to Remember.
Well, I think that has something to do
With
with
who my friends are, but yeah.
no time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It was
bro, it's
fuck.
been
06, 07,
Angels
04.
Envy is the shit. Woo.
I mean, are they on that? They're not. It's not like they're Metallica. We're not trying to say they're Metallica here, but
no.
As I Lay Dying, Killswitch.
That's hard
Span
to
of
say.
influence?
That's hard to
I don't
say.
know.
It's definitely
Maybe
possible.
importance.
It's definitely possible, dude.
Well, I would say,
I would say
maybe
importance,
without
but not influence.
maybe
So-
without, Killswitch and, some of those OG metalcore bands, you probably wouldn't have, A Day to Remember probably wouldn't have pulled that kind of
Boomercore.
influence in.
Haven't said that. in a while.
Without
I got a point. I
Boomercore,
don't
A
wanna
Day to
lose it.
Remember probably wouldn't have been the A Day to Remember that we know.
Valid.
But once A Day to Remember came around, I would say their span of influence far surpassed
yeah,
what those
just metalheads.
the Boomercore did, because, and we've talked about it, because their audience
I got
just
one,
went
too.
everywhere.
I can hold
Everyone loved A Day to Remember, and go.
The As I Lay Dyings, the Killswitches, they were the more musically influential.
Yep.
The A Day to Remembers, they were the more fan influential, important in bringing fans in. As I Lay Dying and bands like that, the OG metalcore bands did more for the music itself, not necessarily bringing new fans to the genre, but just influencing bands like A Day to Remember, bands like Memphis Mayfire, bands like
I think
Polaris.
that
bands
would be a great way to give everyone their due credit.
yeah, dude. They're both equally important, just on opposite ends. Go. You said you got a
Yeah,
point.
so
I want you to lose
it's
it.
going to be slightly
Go.
different than where we're at right now. But so we obviously know a band like Bad Omens and another band that we're going to mention.
You don't
here
even fucking
shortly.
like Bad Omens. Just suck my dick.
No, never said I didn't like them. So
You suck at guitar, bro.
we all know. We all know how Bad Omens is this big fucking deal right now, right?
See the sarcasm in his voice? He fucking hates him.
No, I don't. So before Bad Omens, it was Beartooth.
Don't you
No.
dare mention those
No,
two in the
hear
same
me
breath.
out. Hear me
No.
out. Before Bad Omens, I'm not talking metalcore specifically. I'm just talking of this.
Before Bad Omens, there was A Day to Remember.
Yes.
That's what okay.
Where the fuck did Beartooth go?
Hold on.
Okay.
So I know that Beartooth was not on the same level, but Beartooth's a pretty big fucking deal.
We
And
only
a
know
band-
Beartooth as a big deal because we're from fucking Ohio.
Yeah, and they were on 99.7.
No,
They are.
They're a big
Look, they
fucking
are a
deal.
big
They are
fucking
now.
deal.
They're a big fucking
But
deal.
compared to Bad
Radio
Omens,
Core,
bro, Bad Omens shits
Oh, they're
on
rolling.
them.
I know,
But-
and I understand.
Okay, I'll let you finish
Bad-
your point
fuck,
before
Beartooth
I
might as well be
trash
Bubble Flex,
everything that
homie.
you're about to say.
Beartooth might. I don't know.
They might as
Maybe
well
I'm
be
reading
Bubble
it
Flex,
wrong.
bro.
Whoa, bro. I do like Beartooth. Let's not go there.
And I understand that Bad Omens has blown up bigger than Beartooth. Not denying that.
Internet has a lot to do with that.
But, and you had mentioned it, but if we take a step back,
Good Last Albums has a lot to do with
Nux.
does a band like Beartooth, Bad Omens, so many others, but I can't think of any
Monuments?
off the top. Nah, not Monuments.
I
They're-
think Monuments.
Motionless?
And Bad Omens
Monuments,
are very
Monuments
close.
Monuments comes from As I Lay Dying, shit like that.
Motionless?
maybe not as much.
I Prevail.
Boys of Fall.
I prevail.
Boys of
Yeah,
Fall?
boom. I prevail
Until I Wake.
until I wake. Bad Omens. Beartooth.
Boys of Fall.
Boys of Fall.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say Boys of Fall.
Go ahead.
Those bands do not exist without A Day to
No,
Remember.
no, I don't think so.
Those do not
No.
like those type of bands.
No.
And I don't know how to categorize them, and I don't want to try.
It's just it's a subgenre of a
yeah.
subgenre.
100% agree with that.
They do
Especially Beartooth. Beartooth
Yeah.
is very punk.
That's what I
Yes,
mean, and
they
I'm
are
like,
very punk.
dude, Beartooth blew the fuck up.
They
And
did.
I understand
No,
Bad
they-
Omens maybe is doing twice that now.
But again,
But
that
at
has,
one point,
when Beartooth
probably
got
I
before-
think the reason you
before
hate
this-
Beartooth is because
their vocals
they have
are so bad.
they have punk screams rather than metalcore
Metalcore
screams.
that might be it.
Yeah.
But
It's not even hardcore
dude,
screams.
yeah.
It's
his
fucking
vocals
It's
punk,
punk.
are
screams.
dog shit. Dog shit. I'm
So-
sorry. And you wear a fucking headband. You're not in Steel Panther.
Yeah, that
okay?
shit.
You're not
Look,
in fucking.
they lost me at their
you're-
last album,
They're
and
rock
with
You're
stars.
their
fucking cheesy as fuck. You're
Oh
not
my
Steel
God.
Panther. If you want to be a fucking metalcore band, lose the fucking purple headband.
they're rock stars, dude.
I don't give a
lame.
fuck what they are.
They're rock stars.
That's all.
I
fine
mean,
and
they're
dandy.
making
I'm
more
a
money.
shitty guitarist.
They're
but
making more
whatever.
money than me. They're more successful in music than I'll probably ever be. But
And you write better songs.
yeah,
than them.
they look.
That's
the,
where I
the
get
look.
pissed.
The look was a cop out. The
I don't
look
know,
was
they
a
got
fucking
some really good
sellout.
songs, dude.
How?
Fellas,
They do. They really do.
what's
You
that?
agree?
you
Beartooth
don't
has
listen
some
to
really
fucking
good
lyrics.
songs.
They have really good songs.
They do, bro.
Their last album, though, I can't get over how bad
Dude,
it
it was
fucking
bad. The last
was.
album, fuck
Skin.
Fuck 'em.
Skin was the only good
Skin's a
song
really
on that
good one.
album because it was the only song that sounded anything like
Beartooth.
Beartooth.
Yep.
But
Yep.
you know, we've talked about bands trying different sounds and
3
stuff
Days Grace
before,
is better
but
than
like
Beartooth.
they went so far away from what the fuck they
Like
are.
new?
Any of it.
What is
I
it,
don't agree.
3 Days Grace is better than Beartooth.
Old 3 Days
bro?
Grace. Yes.
Old 3 Days Grace was
All of
you
it.
know
Don't
it
care. Give me
slapped.
Matt Walsh. I'd rather listen to them than
It
Beartooth.
slapped, bro.
At least their vocals are better.
Well,
I'm
look,
sorry. I'm on
I
a
understand that you
tangent
don't
now.
like the vocals as much, but their songs
That's why I
really
don't like
are.
Knock
They
Loose.
have
That's
some
why I don't like
really-
North Lane. The vocals suck.
Hey, North Lane,
I don't
bro.
agree on the Northland.
I know
No,
you
you
don't.
don't. We had that conversation.
You know
earlier.
what?
We
We're
can
going to
talk about that
bring
later.
we're going to bring that back when we start talking into this next subject because I got some things to say and I'm going to say.
Are we,
'em.
can we wrap up the Day to Remember thing?
Yeah,
I
but
think we're
before,
cool.
look, I got to admit, we got to take a short break before we dive into this next section because it is hot as balls in here.
Yep, we're gonna cool this bitch
and
off.
we're going
Oh,
to
I
cool
feel
this
good. I'm
off,
comfy.
and we have to mentally prepare for what we're about to discuss.
Yeah.
They got some
Especially me.
apologies to make.
I ain't got shit to fucking apologize for.
Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy a short
Mainly Kyler.
Enjoy a short musical break. We'll be right back. Whoa, whoa, rain down on me. Oh. All right, we're back from our break. And, boy, well, I've said it before on this show several times, and I'm going to say it again. The first part is that a man has to know his limitations. The second piece is that a man has to admit when he's wrong. And I was not only wrong about something, but I was dead wrong about something.
We had to mentally prepare ourselves during the break.
Not you, motherfucker,
Yeah,
just
I
me.
didn't. I
Well, Tyler, yeah, him too. And
I'm gonna
Tyler
sit
and,
here
I,
and drink.
Tyler and I talked about this on the golf course the other day, that I was the engine that drove his hate train for this band, and now I'm no longer driving that train.
I
He
no
jumped
longer have the excuse to hate them.
By now, you all have figured out the hints and know who we're about to talk about, and I guarantee you it's a band that you listen to. It's a band that you probably really enjoy. It's a band that millions and millions and millions of people have fallen in love with over the past year or so.
Not even over the past 3 months.
Because of the new album, but even before that, they
Yeah.
had a huge following.
Yep.
But now they're just, it's unreal. Sleep Token. So let me just preface this by saying, again, a man has to know his limitations. A man has to admit when he was wrong, and I was wrong. I unfairly hated on this band for a long time, and I've done it on this show. I've hated on this band on this show, and I'm walking it back because I was wrong, and I'm man enough to admit that. I did not give them a fair shake. I've done that before. Preston, you've talked about it before. I've done that before, and I'm trying to do better. Although you couldn't name another band where I did this.
Not
to
off
the
the top
level
of my
Sleep
head, but
Token,
I know there's a few.
I've done it before where I've unfairly judged a band based off of a song or two that I've heard. And let's be honest, I'm not backing off the fact that a lot of Sleep Token fans are incredibly annoying.
Yep.
I'm not
True
backing
story.
off of that because that's accurate. And y'all might think that about us when it comes to Polaris or Moths or Monuments or something. So it's all
To each their own.
it's to each their own. But I unfairly hated on this band. And then I heard, I don't even know which song it was off the new album. I heard a piece of it on TikTok.
Was it Euclid?
I think it was Euclid. I heard a piece of it on TikTok, and I was like, oh my God, that's beautiful.
That's
Like,
catchy. At first, you were probably like, "Oh, that's catchy. That's cool."
And then I listened to the song. I listened to Euclid all the way through, and I was like, oh boy, that's
That's a song.
pretty. So then I actually dove into the album, and I was like, oh God. It's almost like finding out that you got an STD. They infected me, and
That's metal as fuck.
I don't know what else to say other than I'm sorry, because I did because it wasn't like it was justified hate. It was unfair. Oh my God, all these people won't shut up about this band. They fucking suck. Blah 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 blah. That was wrong of me to do. So I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong, and it's tough to do. I'm a prideful man, and to sit here and say, hey, I fucked up. I shit talked a really, really talented band for no fucking reason. I think a lot of people can probably relate to that. They've probably done that at some point.
I did it about Dance Gavin Dance.
Okay.
I hated him at first.
That's fair.
hated him.
It happens, but when, and this is growth, right? We talk about musical growth a lot on this show. This is growth. This is me taking a huge step out of my comfort zone with Sleep Token, because y'all know, if you have been with us for 3 seasons now, you know what Kyler May is all about when it comes to music, and it's the heaviest of heavy. It's fucking riff god, I mean, that's what it is. And Sleep Token's not that. And for me to take a step out of my comfort zone and listen to this and actually like feel it and enjoy it, and we're gonna take a really deep dive into these guys, but it was a big step for me. Tyler, go ahead.
I remember one time you had sent me a song, and I can't remember what the band was. I want to say it was either A Word Alive or
The World Alive. Nice.
no, A Word Alive.
Oh, A Word Alive. Yeah.
Or I think it was them.
Okay.
Or Memphis Mayfire. I can't remember which one it was, but that you had sent a song and you were like, it was around this time you and I were kind of going back and forth on, bro, it doesn't have to rip the entire time. It doesn't
I
have to
remember
slam
this.
the entire
Yep.
time. And you had sent me a song. You were like, dude, for whatever reason, this song hit me, but it doesn't slam. It's pretty chill. And for, I think I'm starting to understand where you're coming from, where like, it doesn't have to rage.
Was it Somebody by Miss Mayfire? I don't know when I became somebody. It might have been a Word Alive song. I
forget
remember
which
this
one. I
conversation,
remember the album cover being mostly white, and I remember it being one of those 2 bands.
It was probably a Word Alive.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. But anyway, so you've grown from even that into some of these things like Sleep Token, and you've admitted some appreciation for like Thrice
Oh,
and stuff that
absolutely.
I've sent you.
Yeah. we could name a litany of bands.
Oh
that you
yeah,
sent
a ton of bands that
Yeah,
you have kind of
absolutely.
come around to at least appreciate. Maybe not something you enjoy listening to, but it seems like Sleep Token is one of these bands that has really taken you from, like you said, riffage, metal in your face, to something that's kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And you've not only appreciated what they do, but you enjoy listening to it.
Absolutely. It's almost
Growth.
it is growth. It is growth. It's almost listening. Wow, listening to Sleep Token is almost spiritual. This new album, especially, it's almost a
Why do you
spiritual
think their tagline is worship?
It's almost a spiritual experience because I guess we'll just go ahead and dive right into it. The songwriting, the we've talked about it before, the composition and song structure, musically.
I got some things to say about that.
And then I know you do. And then lyrically, I mean, it's a journey, bro. Their entire Take Me Back to Eden album is an absolute fucking journey. And I'm still coming to grips with it myself. Like I'm still having a war within myself.
It's fresh. It's a fresh wound.
Fucking they're just a 5 out of 10. They'll never be more than a 5 out of 10 for me, but deep down in this hard shell of metal till I die, I'm like, but they're like really fucking good.
Well, I think the reason you still give them a 5 out of 10 is there's still songs from them that you just can't do.
Yeah, more their older stuff, like that one you sent me today.
Yeah, that one when the bow
something-
breaks
When the bow breaks.
didn't hit you.
No, it didn't hit. And I need to listen to it more. It was
Yeah.
just the once. I was just driving. I listened to it all the way through, and I was
There's
like,
a certain mood for me that I have to
That's
be
fair.
in to listen
You-
to that song.
yeah, it's different. It's not like Rain or
Yeah.
you know, The Summoning or
It's
something
not like
that.
a banger or
I'm
something
about
like
to go
that.
so fucking hard.
I can't wait for Tyler to do
So,
this.
and I guess
Let's
I'll
just
preface
go,
it.
P.
I'll
Dizzy.
preface it before you. So, to toot my own horn, I've been
Which you
listening.
never do, so this will be interesting.
I've been listening to Sleep Token for the last year. The way I found out
In
about
secrecy?
No,
No, I sent it to you, and I don't
Yeah.
think you vibed with it at the time because
I
of
got the
his
song
voice.
that you sent to me.
Yeah, so I think shout out Kagan from Breathing Theory and Artifacts. I'm pretty sure I seen him make a Facebook post about Sleep Token a year ago, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna delve into these guys, and it took me a bit, and I think I had got into the 3-song EP and the Sundowning album.
Was that the last one? Sundowning?
No, the one before Take Me Back to Eden is This Will Become Your Tomb.
Okay, fair enough.
So I had downloaded a few, and it was this vibey stuff, but with these drop tune 7-string guitars that would come in toward the end of songs, and I'm like, shit's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But never fell in love with them or anything like that. And there's some parts about this band that I want to talk about, but my own journey with these guys is I had downloaded those few songs, and I had listened to them on the golf course by myself. I had my headphones in, and it just put me in a different mode. Like,
What a time to listen to.
yeah,
jams.
dude, there nothing else around me other than the golf course, and their music mattered at the time. And I'm like, I mean, I don't think that their music.
Well, you're focused.
Yes, I don't think that their music was meant for the golf course, but like it
No,
just put
but
me in this mood of
The
like,
thing about the golf course, especially when you're by yourself, you're
It's-
not focused
it's
on
a
driving.
sanctuary,
You're not
man.
thinking about work. You're not thinking
It's
about
a
even in the
sanctuary,
gym.
dude.
Like
Yeah.
I know you guys love the gym, but you're focused on something.
yeah,
On the golf course, bro, you're free. It's like,
It's-
dude, when I'm on the
it's a
bike,
getaway,
what I'm gonna
bro.
say, dude.
so my
it's a
time to
getaway.
do shit like that is either golf course by myself or the bike
or
when I'm
riding
on the
bike.
motorcycle.
Yeah,
Because it's just literally me. And now again, I know you're focused on driving and all that, but like Tyler, you can relate. There's a certain freedom that comes with being on a motorcycle, and when you're listening to music while doing that, it's an experience, and it's a great time to dive into new shit.
yeah. So I had downloaded a few songs off of that EP and that Sundowning album. I think it's called Sundowning, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
And shortly thereafter, This Will Become Your Tomb came out. And the song High Water and I don't know how to pronounce this. I hope I pronounce it right.
They
but
do have some weird song titles.
Telomerase or something like that. Telomerase or something. Those two songs hit me like a fucking brick shit house. There's a solo in that song that starts with a T that didn't bring me to tears, but it was one of them emotion invoking solos and songs. High Water, and then Alkaline was a single off that album that had some heavier parts. And if I'm not mistaken, Alkaline is what kind of shot those guys up a bit. But I got to thinking about Sleep Token, and I understand that in recent, in the last few weeks, Kyler had gotten into him.
Now, by the time you guys listen to this, obviously
it's been some time.
It's been some time. We're not a news station. We're not here to break metal news. We're taking deep dives into this shit. So yes, we understand that the big Sleep Token blow up has been a few weeks.
Yep.
It's been even longer than a few weeks.
It's been a month or so. But we're taking a real deep dive into why it happened.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So I got to thinking, and for some reason, A Day to Remember had came up too, and I'm like,
Because you brought it up, dummy.
no, but I think my thought process had started with Sleep Token, and then I was going back, and I'm like, what other artists and bands had done things like this? And I know it's not similar, but the multi-genre aspect of their music, and I'm like, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, why are so many people liking this artist and this band? I'm like, well, you got elements of rap. You got elements of hip-hop. You got elements of this spacey ambient alternative shit. You got elements of drop tune, djent, heavy as fuck. And it's
Screams.
somehow, some way, they're bringing this vibe of, like, sometimes I feel like I hear The Weeknd in their music. When he does, like, his rap.
Well, bro, the R&B feel in so much of their shit. You talk about R&B stands for rhythm and blues. Yep. There's a lot of R&B in a lot of their verses.
And I hear so many different pieces in their music, and it's kind of like a Bad Omens did with their last album. They're making this heavier sound of music cool.
Yeah.
They are making this heavier sound of music.
Yes.
Like, I'm really cool because I listen to this now. And I think there's a portion of that where we're pissed off at their fan base, where it's like, God, I can't stand these kind of
That's
things.
where I
had
was,
with
dude.
A Day to Remember.
Yes.
That's where I was.
You see where I'm getting at?
Bro,
Why I brought these two bands
unfairly
together?
hated their music because of their fan base, and I'm man enough to admit it, bro.
And then the other side of it is like, holy shit. Whether they meant to or not, these guys are making this shit cool.
Yes.
Same as a Bad Omens did.
Same as A Day to Remember.
This
They
is
are
why
bringing-
I brought these topics to you guys.
Yeah,
for
by the
this
way,
show.
this whole show is brought to you by Screaming Evidence lead guitarist Preston Dunn, because all of these topics were his ideas.
It had me in deep thought. It really did.
Because Sleep Token is a modern day A Day to Remember. They are bringing...
Even though it's completely different.
Correct.
But
they're
their
still-
influence
But what
is
they
the
did-
same.
They're
what they
still
did for
bringing the
music.
same groups of people together. Except they're bringing the
They're-
hip-hop and R&B people in.
Exactly.
Right. Their influence is the same.
Tyler
Keep
took
going.
a deep, I was
Keep
gonna
going,
say, Tyler
bro.
took a deep
So
breath.
no,
I was waiting on it.
and I'm
gonna
trying
take a few of
to
those.
I'm trying to put out my I'm never great at putting my thoughts into words, and that's a problem that I have, but this is the thought process.
Samesies.
Yeah, this is the thought process I went through when you
Y'all
started
could never
getting
judge
into 'em.
livestock.
Yeah. Well, fuck, I sell shit on a daily basis. That's probably why I struggle sometimes.
That's a hot cow.
But like I said, it's the thought process that I went through, and I'm like, we obviously know there's a movement behind this band, and I was wondering why.
Okay.
And then it made me think of A Day to Remember as well. But this is a different side of that movement, and I'm like, I think I'm starting to see why. I see where it's coming from. So, with that, Tyler, what you got?
Oh, he's got a lot. Deep breath.
Okay.
You want me to sing another Sleep Token song for you, or you're good?
should have been dead. Look, so I remember
on the sun.
yeah. So Preston had sent me some Sleep Token about a year ago when he first got into it.
When
and
I was on the golf course.
It was Missing Limbs is what you sent
Which
me.
album?
Missing limbs.
That's
Sundown?
that's the last song on This Place Will Become Your Tomb.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
So you had sent me that, and I started kind of diving into him a smidge. I listened through a little bit of that album. I ended up going back to the 3 single little EP that they dropped or whatever.
That was back in 2016 when they
Um,
dropped that.
yeah,
Really?
but
Yeah.
I listened to some of it, and I could hear that like the songwriting was good, but I couldn't get over dude's voice for whatever reason. It just wasn't connecting with me. It to me sounded like Post Malone went metal, and I cannot fucking stand Post Malone. Cannot fucking
see the
stand
resemblance.
when
That's
when
amazing, man.
just
That's
I don't know some of the shit.
Yeah.
Listen,
I
Post
don't know,
Malone was
but
metal
look.
way before he was hip hop.
Which is true. He should have stayed metal. But
love it.
anyway, it just didn't vibe with me. I kind of vibed with the music, but it for whatever reason at that time it just wasn't connecting with me, and I didn't dive much further into him, and I kind of gave him that one quick chance and just moved along. And then here comes Preston more recently talking about Sleep Token, and I have Kyler as my excuse to not
bash 'em.
give them the time of day.
I told you I was your hate train engineer.
Yeah, you were, and I was loving it because I was like, this means I don't have to give them any time. I don't have to.
I validated your hatred.
You validated my hatred,
Yes.
and I loved it.
Yep.
And then this motherfucker comes in. He's like, yeah, but like,
Euclid's a fucking jam.
he's like, yeah, but like the song though. And I'm like,
Your
I
literal
literally-
words, your literal words were, "I fucking hate you so much" in the chat, bro. And I was like,
I was pissed, dude. I was like, now I have to go and spend the next like few days listening to Sleep
and
Token.
then you were even more mad when you listened. You're like, "This is fucking great."
Look, I listened to a few, and it was the new album, and I listened to a few songs, and I forget which song I ended up sending to you guys in the chat, but like it blew my fucking mind.
Well, I'm pretty sure we've all sent every song on the album by now.
But
so. And then you and I went golfing.
yeah, then we went golfing and
Brought the Bluetooth speaker.
brought the Bluetooth. We played a little bit of Sleep Token there, and look, when the Sleep Token was playing, we hit good shots.
We hit the ball really fucking well.
So like something is to be said about the fucking power of Sleep Token.
Worship.
But
The song Vor, I believe we were on hole 3 or hole 4, and we hit our best drives of the day.
Oh,
when
it was
Vor
sexy as
playing.
fuck.
And I was like, well, that's all we're gonna listen to for this whole round. So
all right, so still, even after that, I've kind of been in the mood for some other things. So I really didn't give them too much time. I was appreciating it. I was pissed off that I had to listen to it. I was pissed off that
my bad, dog.
I was
my bad.
pissed off that I enjoyed some of it, and I kind of kicked myself in the ass for not having given it a chance sooner.
That's exactly what I
Last
did.
night, I was going through on my laptop, deleting downloads. So we've had some technical difficulties recording the pod lately because of some RAM issues on my computer. I found out that I had a absolutely absurd amount of music downloaded to my computer. So I'm going through deleting shit, and I come across Sleep Token. I'm like, all right, while I'm deleting this shit, I might as well listen to it. And I played that little 3 single EP. The first song, I was like, man, it's pretty good. And then that second song hit.
Fields of Elation. Is it called Fields of Elation?
I believe
Something
so.
of Elation.
And when that song by the time that song was done, I stopped what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to take a fucking breath. It literally knocked the wind out of me. And here's why.
Isn't that one of the best feelings in the world, though?
Here's why. So, I love making music with the band. I love what we do there. But there's a part of me with the more recent, probably the last 5 to 6 years of influence I've had musically. There's a part of me that wants to write different stuff than what we're writing with the band.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put all these influences together and I think about what I want to write and the style I want to write, that song really spoke to me because I'm like, this is like exactly what I want to be writing. This is exactly the type of shit that goes through my head. This mix of some really heavy shit, but also this really ambient,
Just
alternative
feel.
stuff. And then like the feel and the groove, because I've been playing bass for a while and I focus a lot on groove. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And I do complain about the dude's voice, but here's what I'll say about it. Preston and I have had conversations about certain vocalists that clearly are not amazing vocalists. They have a certain range, excuse me, and they have to stick within that range to sound good. Then you have some vocalists that try to exceed their range and they sound like shit, which is what I had an issue with in Animate, where like dude sounded live like he was trying to go beyond what he can really do. And, you know, things like that. And that pisses me off. But what I really fucking love is when you have vocalists that they understand their range and they're like, look,
A man
I'm
has
not,
to know his
I'm, yeah, a man
limitations,
has to know his
bro.
limitations. But here's what I can do. I can look at the range I have, and I could do everything in my power to keep my vocal performance interesting throughout the song while staying within my range so that I'm fucking good there. And I will say that the vocalist here at Sleep Token,
Vessel.
Vessel, he does a really good job staying within his range. He's staying in pretty low pitches. He doesn't really go
No, he doesn't
high
get
pitch
Sometimes,
ever.
very rare, but yes.
He's doing a really good job of keeping his vocal performance interesting within the range that he knows he's good at, while still somewhat pushing his boundaries at times, but not to the point where he's going to sound like shit if he tries it live and it doesn't pan out. The other thing is when you are limited on your range, so me, as Kyler has also confirmed, I'm not the greatest vocalist.
Oh,
But-
did I say that?
You're a
You-
shitty
you did.
vocalist.
I was like, I think it was episode 1. I was like, we were talking shit about dude from Avenged Sevenfold. I was like, you know, I'm not a great vocalist either. You were like, yeah, I know. And I was like, wow, fuck you, bro.
Yeah,
So look,
that's all right. I'm a shitty guitar player.
I don't have a huge range. I can get kind of in the mid highs. I can get pretty low. But I have a certain range that I have to stick within to sound okay. What I am good at is projecting my voice in different ways. I could do a head voice. I could do a chest voice. I could do screams. I could do cleans. I could do a little bit of falsetto. I could do full voice. Like, I have a range in the way that I'm able to project my voice. And the vocalist for Sleep Token, he does a lot of this falsetto stuff, and he will go from some of this kind of head voice to, you know, like a clean head voice, to adding in a little bit of a chest voice where you're adding in some rasp and stuff. And to that extent, I can appreciate what he's doing. Do I like the sound of his voice much? No, I still can't like say I love his voice. I can't.
It's very different.
I can only
It is very
take in
different.
so much Sleep Token before I'm
Everything about them is different.
Yeah.
yeah, I can only take in so much before I'm like, I've had enough.
But I think that's the other part that's making them unique right now.
Right. his voice is so unlike anything else
Yeah.
in the metal genre or kind of even like the hip hop,
It is,
R&B,
it is.
shit
There's
like
a level
that,
of discomfort almost listening to them in a good way.
in a good way. So on the vocal aspect, the one piece that really kept me from listening to them in the first place,
Was
I grew
Vessel's
to
voice.
appreciate last night while listening to some of their stuff, and even that last song on that little
EP.
EP thing. Kyler, you fucking hated it. You said it was dog shit. But for
when
me,
the bow breaks,
Right?
right?
About I just didn't like it.
for me, that first like 2 minutes, he's full like falsetto, but the layers of vocal harmony reminded me so much of a alternative band that I really like, and that's the Local Natives, and they have a particular album. I forget what it's called, Blue Cover, whatever. And one of the things I really love about that band is they'll have like 3 of their members going hard on vocals, and they're all at a different pitch and they're all harmonizing. And when you're playing live in a band and you're trying to harmonize, not just sing the same note that the other, like the lead guitar or the lead singer is singing, and you're trying to harmonize with a different pitch, it's really hard because you naturally want to just fall into what the lead singer's doing. It's really difficult to get layers in there with different harmonies. And what I heard from Sleep Token in that song was almost a fucking mastery of harmonies with vocal layers that I could not dispute was enticing to me. Now, going a little bit deeper, kind of back to what, this being kind of the style of music that I would like to write and I would like to perform. This motherfucker over here.
Give me a second before you explain that.
Well, I don't want
wanna
to give
like-
too many details about what I'm
No,
about to talk
no,
about.
that's okay.
So,
You want to like Sleep Token even more? And I
Fuck you,
forgot to
bro.
tell you this a while back. They did their own version of Is It Really You by Loathe. Yep. I forgot to tell you about that. I didn't send it to you or nothing.
Are
a
you
while
about to
back.
dive into what I said before we hit record
all right,
again
so look.
about the identity thing?
Yeah, so Kyler's telling me I don't have a tendency of digging into stories of bands or artists or anything like that. Like most people. To me, it's all about the music. I don't give a fuck what your story is. Whatever. Kyler's sitting here telling me about how no one knows who the fuck these people are.
No.
They don't
As
use
far
their
as we know, right?
yeah.
Oh
they-
no,
Okay.
no one knows. Yeah,
They're
It's
not using
complete
their real
obscurity.
names. They're wearing masks and shit.
It's
And
some creepy shit on
they
stage.
go by numbers.
yeah,
it's
so
almost Slipknot-esque in a way.
there's only one person alive that has heard me discuss what this idea is, and it's Preston.
Yep.
And I talked about it with Preston because I wanted to get his take on it. And so I had this idea about a year ago, and it's still kind of in the process just because I've been getting some gear so that I can get back into, guitar a little bit more. I'm starting to get better with the recording software again so I can start fucking with my own shit, start writing my own shit. I have been writing some of my own stuff, more on the acoustic, but I have this idea, and it was based around that. It was I had this idea where I wanted to wear a mask. I wanted to get like this sort of identity set for myself, this stage identity set for myself. I wasn't going to tell a fucking soul what I was doing. Keep it secret from my personal life, keep it secret from my personal identity, a secret from everybody, all the fans. While I'm on stage, I'm this person. While I'm at home, I'm this person. And the reason for that is so that it could be strictly about the music. I didn't, we have this whole fucking issue in the music industry, really the entertainment industry, of like cancel culture. And if
Yep.
you slip up, you're fucked.
They gonna get
If you don't have a good story, a good personal story, it's hard to break through the noise.
It's hard to
like,
promote you. You don't have a good enough story.
yeah, because I've literally had people tell me like, "Hey, you should listen to this band." I'm like, "I have," and they suck. And they're like, "Yeah, but their story's cool." And I'm like,
it doesn't make
"Fuck
the
their
music good,
story." Like everybody's got a story,
Everybody has a story. Yeah.
but if your music sucks, then why the fuck should I give you the time? Because you have a cool story? Like, fuck
Yep.
you, bro. And so it's I wanted it to be all about the music, and I'm not going to talk about the name I had in mind. I'm not going to talk about the identity I had in mind. But hearing Kyler talk about that made me appreciate these fucking assholes even more, because they're out there doing what I had intended to do, which was separate the stage identity
Yep. It's a
from any
persona.
personal identity, so that it could be just about the music. Hey, I don't want you to listen to me because of the story. I don't want you to listen to me because whatever. I fucking grew up in a rough childhood or whatever. I don't give a fuck. I
Or
really
because
don't.
I'm attractive. Or
Yeah, I don't
this,
want
or-
you to
yeah.
listen to me because I'm sexy as fuck, which I am. YouTube, what's up?
He really is though, and he's single, ladies.
Yeah.
And guys, I mean-
well, only in days that end with a Y.
Don't know if he
but,
swings that way.
in any case, I really fucking
Motherfucker said
appreciate
in any
that
case.
about them. But we're gonna go down a different rabbit hole
No.
with them. No.
Okay.
Well, do you have something to say about that particular?
Yes,
okay, go ahead.
yeah.
Go
It
ahead.
was-
Then I'll go into some other
it's
stuff.
just that was, and that's why I brought it up before during our break, was the appreciation that I have for these guys, because it's all about the music. No one fucking knows what they look like. No one knows what their real names are, and that's how they want it. They want you to love them for their music, not for them. I mean, Vessel, their frontman, like covers himself in like black paint, so like you can't even make out like certain features. He's just this. He's this entity. They are all this entity, and these on-stage personalities that they have completely separated from their personal lives because they want it to be solely about their art.
Well, and on a smaller scale, throughout all the seasons of this show, you guys know that we have mentioned this. We appreciate and gravitate toward the bands that make it about the song.
Yes.
It's not about the drum fill. It's not about the riffs. It's not about the bass groove. It's the fucking song.
All of it.
It's bands like to us, and I understand y'all feel a different way about certain bands, and that's completely okay.
It's all subjective.
It's bands like Polaris. It's bands like Chevelle. It's bands like Sleep Token. It's bands like so many others. But they're taking it to another level. It's a part of their persona.
Yep. Anything?
No. I just wanted to. Again,
I
I'm the
really-
point driver homer, and I just wanted to drive that
started
one home.
throwing shit because it made me like him even more. And I'm still upset about it.
I am
But-
too.
I don't
We're
have to be
hard-headed, bro.
upset.
Look,
I've always liked
No,
them.
exactly.
All right.
Him and I
So
are
we're
hard-headed.
about to go a little bit further.
Which
go.
So
you are the king of taking us deeper.
as I understand, the vocalist plays piano while he sings
Vessel.
sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
he'll like back away from the mic and go play piano and certain.
Well,
things.
and any song that you hear on the record that has piano in it, that motherfucker's playing it. Like, and
Okay.
there is listen, you're gonna love this. There is a video of him play. I can't remember what song it is. It was on TikTok. I don't remember if it was Rain or no. What's the one song we were listening? Was it
Euclid?
Rain?
Euclid.
It was Euclid. He's playing this song on piano and singing it live, and you can see the tears streaming down his face.
Oh,
Oh, I love to hear that.
You can, because the light hits him
Oh,
just right.
man.
The light hits, and because you could almost hear his voice shake a little bit,
Hold that thought because I'm gonna talk about. Oh Lord Jesus.
and you can see the tears streaming his makeup, and I'm like,
He feels the music, dude.
That's the realest shit I've ever seen.
That's why they do it.
All right. So I'm going to go into what I was going to say, then I'm going to bring it back to
Okay,
that.
go
so
for it.
look, to play piano, first I'll say, in all the music theory classes I took in college, they all teach music theory with the piano. Because
Okay.
it's all laid out there very linearly, and it's easier to kind of conceptualize. Whereas on a guitar, it's more two-dimensional. So you're going up the string,
And you're
down
going
down
down.
the neck, down the fret. It's fucking all over the place. Whereas on a piano, it's very linear, and you can really pick out your scales, you can pick out your chords, and it just makes more sense on the piano. So to be able to play piano, you do have to understand music theory to an extent. Piano is not one of those instruments you can easily just pick up and play by ear. Partly because almost everything is with sheet music, and partly because to understand why the fuck you're playing what you're playing, you really have to understand a little bit of music theory, whereas guitar, you really can pick it up more by ear and never know a lick of music theory
Me.
the whole fucking time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everything
Us.
you're doing falls
the two
within
of
the
us.
rules of music theory. You just don't realize it. And you just don't know what those rules are. You just know based on the ear, it just seems to work.
Music doesn't have rules.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit. But anyway, one, how they incorporate piano into their music, I think is fucking amazing.
That's awesome.
Because you do have bands
love
like
piano. Love piano.
Make Them Suffer,
Yes, sir.
where
Yep.
at times the piano seems almost out of place. That is
Yeah,
one
I get
negative
that.
thing I'll say about that band.
I'd
The
get that.
piano almost seems out of place. It's not put in well into the mix. Like, it's not mixed well.
Be
It's,
careful. You,
you know,
step
it
lightly
just-
around
it
MTS,
just-
bro.
it's just
step
kind of
lightly.
weird at times.
So
But with Sleep Token, it's mixed in perfectly. The way it interacts with everything else in the band is perfect. And the only explanation is that these guys have a pretty decent understanding of music theory
Well, how do
and
you
how to
fit in a drop tune 7-string guitar with a piano and
In the
with everything
same
else?
fucking-
that
by
they're doing?
understanding what notes,
Exactly.
what key the piano is playing, what notes the piano is playing, what chords the piano is playing, and knowing
And
that
then
you have
layer
to
your
kind of fit
vocals on
within
top
those.
of
and
that.
then to fix your vocals toward it. Exactly.
Son of a
and then do it
bitch.
live. And
Play,
fucking
look,
cry while
playing
you're doing it.
piano,
Yep.
playing piano while singing is harder, far harder than anything else I've ever tried.
That's why nobody talks about like Elton John or Jerry Lee Lewis or Elvis enough.
Right. So, look, these guys, when you're listening to their songs, and probably one of the reasons I appreciate the instrumentals so much is because these guys understand some music theory. And they understand how different parts can work well together. And when you listen to these motherfuckers' songs, I'm saying motherfuckers as like
A good thing. That's a
good thing.
compliment. Motherfuckers is a compliment around these
You-
parts.
Hey, you fucking some moms, bro.
Hell yeah,
Hey, your
bro.
music fucks.
I literally fuck a mom.
Hell yeah.
That's metal. as
But
fuck.
anyway,
Yeah, love you.
these dudes, the changes they make throughout a song
It's bonkers, bro.
are so that's the only way to describe it.
Bonkers.
It's bonkers. Like, you're going from this piece to that piece, and somehow it works. What? And it could be like some chill, ambient, little bit of piano, little bit of some guitar layers, and some low key vocals. And then going into some down-tuned guitar riffage that just bounces, bro, and it's like
Bro,
fucking hell.
it's down tuned.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's
low.
down.
We were stringing up that. Tyler was stringing up that Ibanez, and I was watching because I've never strung a Floyd before. But And we were listening. I think it was the Summoning, and I was like, bro, I don't know if that's like G flat or
It's like double drop G and
like,
bullshit like that.
what that
Yeah.
is, but it is low.
It is
Yeah.
very low. But it's like, how does one's imagination
Yeah, where does that
stray
come
like
from?
that? Like, I've been trying to incorporate some essence of things like that into Screaming Evidence. We do have the one song where we go into that weird bridge that we still
one?
have to work on
The new
making
one?
it fit.
Is it the one I'm not crazy about?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
well,
I'm
there's a
getting
couple that you're not crazy
No,
about.
there's just the one that
The
I'm-
one that Sean sung to at practice the other day. Is that
No,
what
no,
you're talking
that
about? The one where you
the
didn't
one
like
that was
it
a
until
full
he sung.
instrumental, and then he's put lyrics to it, and I was like, oh,
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
so I'm trying to incorporate some of these things because I find stuff like that extremely interesting, and I don't like when bands just always revert straight to a breakdown. It's like bridges don't exist anymore.
Right.
Like, you're not allowed to have this bridge
This
that's
piece of
not like the
space.
well,
Yeah.
in essence, a breakdown is a form
Piece
of a
of
bridge,
space.
but it's like not every one of these bridges have to be this heavy,
Nope.
in your face, kill a motherfucker
Yep.
piece of the song. It's like sometimes it can be kind of chill. Sometimes it can,
can be a
evoke
setup.
a different type of emotion.
Setup.
Yeah.
It's a setup, yeah. And I think Sleep Token and their music are doing such an amazing job of kind of breaking the normal song structure that's out there, and they do it in a way that is, I would say, on the same level as like a Periphery,
Yep. In a
as,
different way, though.
like a Tesseract.
In a different way.
Tesseract.
Or
Yep. Wow.
what's
Yep.
that
Yeah.
one with A New
Tesseract.
Day?
Carnival.
You know.
And the Contortionist.
Yeah, those
Yep.
kind of bands are
Yep. Deep in
really
thought.
mixing
I
up
mean-
the song structure a lot.
Deep in thought.
And
Yep.
Sleep Token is doing a great job of that. They're keeping it, but they're also not
Polaris
getting
does
so
Dude, Polaris does it in a different
Polaris
way,
does
but Polaris
that.
does it too. Yeah.
Not
Well-
trying to suck them off even more, but
But
they
they
do.
do.
it too.
Yeah,
Yes.
they do mix
in
up
a
the
more
song
metal
structure,
way.
In a metal
more
way.
metal
but
way.
in a metal way.
Yeah.
But what Sleep Token is doing is they're not going like way out of fucking left field like a Dance Gavin Dance kind
Right.
of thing. They're keeping it within.
Yep.
They like built a wall
Sleep Token
around
writes
chaos.
meaningful songs. Dance Gavin Dance writes nonsense.
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know that I agree. I feel like
go
But
look at
I feel
I'll
like
say
there's
I'll
a-
say
lyrics.
kind of.
I feel like there's
Nonsense.
a method to
Bro,
their
they talk about
madness.
pancakes. Nonsense.
There's a method to their madness. I know.
Their
I don't know
lyrics
that
are
there is.
nonsense.
Their lyrics are nonsense,
may-
and
you may
musically,
think
it's not
that
as much
as a listener.
nonsense.
They're talking about pancakes in one song.
Pancakes. I don't like pancakes, but some people do.
I'm more of a French toast kind of guy.
My, those eyes like fire. Like, go look at Sleep Token's lyrics, then go look at DGD's or whatever.
All right,
No,
so
I know
anyway-
that. I know that Dance Gavin Dance's shit's way different and weird, but
Yeah. So anyway,
I would
musically,
say more like Issues. Because
Yeah.
Issues did a lot
they wrote a bunch of
different-
love songs and I grew up bad.
They did,
songs.
but when you think about song structure and just kind of doing things a little differently,
yeah,
Issues had a lot of stuff that was kind of all over the place
Yeah.
and was real spacey.
yeah, but I'd say Sleep Token takes it to a
They-
way.
Dude, there's no
further
one that's
level.
doing that shit. That's too.
There's
a
people
whole
that are
different level.
doing that
There
shit,
are.
but not the way that they are, and that's where I'm like they
almost like-
kind of built a fence around some madness.
So
and
my
said,
thing is
we're
the-
not going to go too far outside of
The
this
band-
fence, but we
Kyler
gotta,
couldn't get into Carnival, could he?
I think he
I
might.
don't think he
The
could.
bands that do something similar, something is lacking, right? So yes, Dance Gavin Dance does a nice job of doing a lot of different shit musically, but they lack lyrically.
To you,
Their lyrics are fucking stupid.
in 3 of their songs that you've looked up,
Dude, I have half of their fucking songs downloaded. Or not downloaded.
I know
but added
that
to
their
my
lyrics
library.
are weird, but I feel, and I could be dead wrong when I say this,
You don't pay attention to lyrics, so
there
your opinion
could
is
be.
invalid.
Well, I hear some of it when I'm listening to it. There could be a method to the madness some way, somehow.
There could be, very well.
Yeah.
But, in my opinion, they are lacking lyrically. Issues, like you said, they kind of stayed in that love song kind of.
Or I grew up bad song.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell
that
you a
kind of
story.
thing. So, a lot of bands.
Or I'm gonna sing about fighting cops.
That too. There's something that is missing to make it an elite song from a lot of the bands that do this just different song composition thing. Whereas, especially at least for me, the newest, Take Me Back to Eden, the newest Sleep Token album, they nail it all, man. There's every aspect of the song while doing this completely off the wall composition and song structure. They nail it, whether it's musically, sonically, adding the ambience, the piano, the fucking double drop G tune, 7 strings with these gorgeous layered vocals, adding hip hop and R&B, adding metal. I mean, there's Vessel screaming and some shit. It's just this combination of so many things that they did so incredibly well all at once. And I feel like there's not very many bands out there, if any, that have done something to that level of perfection when it comes to just the differences.
And they're inviting so many different types of listeners to their
Goes
music.
back to A Day to Remember conversation. That's why we're talking
That's
about
why I created the topics for the show. Is they're inviting so many different people to, hey, come listen to me.
Yeah.
I got.
Dude,
if you like this, I got it.
Look
if
at me.
you like this, I got it.
Look
if
at
you
me.
like that, yes.
I resisted like a motherfucker. And then
See?
finally I was like,
Tried so hard.
yes.
dude,
I guarantee, and my wife hadn't told me, but I guarantee she's got a Sleep Token song on her phone. Guarantee
Dude, I told
it.
Cheyenne the other
Guarantee
day, I
it.
was like, babe, because she likes Bad Omens. I've said that before on the show, and she likes Until I Wake. She even likes some current shit. I said, you would love Sleep Token.
Yep.
I said, you'd want to make another baby if you were
Yep.
listening to Sleep Token. I guarantee
Sex
you.
rock.
Sex rock.
So, kind of
Second baby boom
speaking
coming.
to your other point about the dude like crying while he's playing,
Mm-hmm.
I at one point had a conversation with Sean, and I was asking him advice on writing lyrics and trying to finish out songs, because I can write the rhythm, the lead, the bass. I can even really steer Scotty in the right direction that I want for drums. I can even come up with the vocal melodies. What I have a hard time with is coming up with lyrics. And so I had this conversation with Sean where I'm like, dude, I need to figure out how to do this. And one of these conversations, and I've had multiple like that with him, but one of these conversations we had, he told me that when he's writing, he tries to write songs that every time he plays it, he feels that emotion that he was dealing with,
At the
or
time that he
whatever
thought of it.
that he was dealing with at the time. He wants to feel that every time he performs the song. So there's songs like an example of that we don't play much, but lyrically, it's fucking amazing. And Sean loves playing those songs because
He gets that
lyrically
feeling every time.
it puts him right back there.
Uh-huh.
It invokes that emotion in him when he's performing it like he's in the heat of the moment again. And when you had mentioned that, it brought me back to that conversation with him, because clearly, we've talked a little bit about the depth of these lyrics and how lyrically Sleep Token is really good, and how lyrically they are actually invoking emotion. And for it to be such a powerful song that the guy performing it, that performs it every fucking day, is live performing it, and it hits him so hard
It proves to you it's about the music.
that he is got tears running down his face because it put him back into the moment
When
that he
created it.
that inspired the song in the first place. Dude, that is metal as fuck.
It's so heavy, dude. It's so fuck. I'm
Heavy.
telling you, this album is so fucking heavy, dude. Like the weight of this, dude. I'm telling you, there is certain like I've learned in the past week or two that I've really been diving into this record that there's certain times, places where I can't listen to it. Like I'm not going to get emotional, but like full disclosure, a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, I was super emotional about my kid growing up. He's hitting all these big milestones. He's got teeth now. He can stand up. He's crawling. He's doing all this shit, and it all happened. It seemed like all at once, and like none of these Sleep Token songs are about your kids growing up, but
There's a certain feeling or emotion that they invoke.
the
Yep.
degree of depth and weight that these songs have to them, like I couldn't listen. I bawled my fucking eyes out because
That's why I know this is completely different, but I feel like you need to give Deftones a chance if you haven't.
I've never really dove into them. I know they're super popular. I couldn't name you one
And
of their songs.
it probably won't.
It just never really dove
It's
into
not
them.
going to be the same exact kind
I
of
know the
music
album
by any
for you.
means.
Okay, you're pretty good at that.
Cornel Yokin.
No.
You suck at trying to get me into bands. He's
Diamond
really
Eyes.
good.
Diamond Eyes, you think so?
Fuck yeah, I think so. What the fuck you mean, bro?
I guess I got
Command and
homework
Control.
tomorrow.
He's going to listen to Command and Control.
Yeah.
Or
Tyler knows
Rocket
how to give me the
Skates.
shit because
He's
he'll
gonna listen
find
to
the
Rocket
heaviest
Rocket
Skates.
Skates is
Oh,
legit.
He'll find
man.
Tyler
Yep.
will find the fucking heaviest songs that a band has and send it to me and be like, all right, hey, listen to this. And I'll be like, oh, that's heavy as fuck. I like that. And then be like, okay, now listen to this. And it's a half step down. I'm like,
I guess I was thinking from
Vibey.
the Sleep Token standpoint of this more melodic, spacier stuff that Cornel Yokin would be the
yeah, but like
would
you
be
tried
the
to get me
album.
into Mood Ring and Loathe, and I don't like
I
either
didn't
one of them.
try to get you. I just sent some stuff and said I liked it.
Or, well, I mean, whatever. But like, it's like, that doesn't do anything for me.
Kyler needs to be walked down the journey.
I do. I have to. You got to hold my hand if you're going to take me down a path that's not the normal one that I walk.
That's like Thrice. I had to walk him through Artisan Ambulance
did.
and then share a few other things.
He did, and boy, I prefer Thrice's like live recording stuff. More
Oh
than I do
God,
the-
it's amazing.
More
Should've
than I do the
seen
record.
this shit live.
Yeah, that's a
Oh
band I'd
my
really like to see
God,
live. Just 'cause-
dude.
I do listen to their live albums.
Bro,
more
Dustin
than
didn't
anything
talk to
else.
the crowd the whole time.
But now Sleep
Didn't
Token's
say a
a
fucking
band.
word.
Didn't say a word.
Sleep Token's a band that I want to see live because, bro, like, could you imagine
Yeah.
like smacking a joint?
Well, and
then
that's-
going to a Sleep
dude,
Token show?
that's
like,
Where I'm thinking when you had
melt
mentioned
me.
just yeah.
when you had mentioned you seen that video where those tears were coming down from his eyes, and this is on a much smaller scale, but like I think of when we're as a band together and we finally put something together that we all
You talked about
love.
that on the previous show. Yeah.
Dude, there's no fucking feeling like it. Give me just a second.
I'm waiting.
We'll put something together, and the first or second time, it's like, yeah, that's cool.
Bro, you know when
And
it
the
hits you.
second or third time, even by myself when I'm playing by myself, but normally when I'm with the band and I feel the bass and I feel the drums and Sean either hits that fucking high raspy scream or he's singing, like when we put
Sean's
something
raspy
together
scream.
all at once, like there's not, to me, and I understand other people
Sean's
have their own
raspy
out-
scream is like raspy cream, bro.
Bro, there's no other feeling.
Good night,
like
everybody.
it. There's
Look.
no feeling like it out there.
It is so imperative when you are writing songs. If that song doesn't mean shit to you, how the fuck do you expect it to mean something to anybody else?
Yep.
Like so many bands will write music, and when they're writing the song, they're thinking of what's going to sell.
Yep. It's bullshit.
They're thinking of what's going to connect well with the audience. Well, here's an idea. You're probably not much different than your targeted audience.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you write something that means something to you? Write a song that connects with you.
If it means a lot to you.
And if it means a lot to you,
Shout out to Dan, remember?
yeah. So if it does mean a lot to you, it's probably going to connect to others. And the other piece of it is if you're writing music that you don't really connect with, and you're just writing for the sake of hopefully connecting with a wide audience or whatever, you're not going to play that music with a lot of passion.
Nope.
And so, look, when you're writing music, just write music for you. Because if you're not writing music for you, what the fuck is the point?
Is that why Thrice is so great?
They don't give a
think so.
shit. They do not give a shit. It's those 4 guys in a room together. What are you guys feeling?
Is that why Norma Jean is so great?
Hey, check this out.
Probably.
That's what it is. Hey, check this
that
out.
why
You
Sleep
guys
Token's
like
so
this?
great?
Ooh, I like that. Let's run with it.
Obviously, that is contributing to Sleep Token, because, you know, that whatever song that was obviously meant
Euclid.
so much to
Vessel.
that and he was performing
Bro,
it with
his
such
voice
passion.
was shaking. Like,
It obviously is something he is so passionate about that even as a professional musician could not keep his composure to the absolute extent that he is expected to. And he's breaking down in tears and his voice is shaking while performing this song. That song's got to be something extremely personal, extremely passionate for him. And if you're not writing music like that connects with you, and that kind of goes back to the conversation I had with Sean, where he's writing music that connects with him. And if it connects with other people, great. And a lot of what Sean writes is vague enough to where you can kind of put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
But
guys
you
write
know,
some
put your own
vague-ass shit.
But you get it.
Right.
Sean's an incredible songwriter
Absolutely.
and lyricist. Like, absolutely incredible lyricist. I mean, I couldn't write a Nickelback song, bro. I can't write lyrics.
I can't either.
Like,
nope.
so to say that,
Sounds come out of my head, not words.
I'll be the first to admit that I wish I could. I would love to help you guys.
Bro, if I
lyrically.
could sit down and write a fucking poem, like that would be the coolest. I don't have that.
That's
and
what
that's
Sleep
what it
Token
is.
It is a poem.
It's a poem, dude.
It
It's
is-
poetry.
There's somebody I saw, I believe it was on Twitter, they called, again, subgenre, somebody's trying to create a new one. They were calling Sleep Token poem metal, or poet metal. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Makes sense.
that's what it is. Because I was draining my wiener, but you were talking about writing a song that means a lot to you, right?
Right.
Otherwise, you're just trying to sell a record.
Exactly.
Because I guarantee you, Vessel don't give a fuck about, oh, well, let's see. I mean, obviously you care, but it's like, yeah,
Bro, and these
he's
listeners,
not doing this to
these
sell a record.
listeners nowadays, they don't fall for the bullshit.
No.
They
We don't. Even people that don't think like we do, they don't fall for the bullshit.
People aren't falling for the gimmicks as much
No.
anymore. People aren't falling for the recycled lyrics, the recycled songs. People are really starving, and I say starving.
Yes.
In a
for
literal
reason.
sense.
They are starving for something different, which is really tough because
Which
it's
is-
hard
you
to
just brought me to a
be
great point.
because of the progression of music over the last 100 years, even a little bit more. It's so hard for us musicians nowadays to do something new and different that people will still enjoy.
Dude, to your point, when I write a riff, like I'm sometimes, and there's creative parts where I feel like I break out of that box, but there's other parts where I'm just riffing on the guitar and I'm like, yeah, that's been wrote before. This has been written. This
I
has
was
been done.
literally getting ready, and I'm not trying to hate on you, but so
Yeah.
many times, and I should say it as your friend, but so many times I should be like, bro, who gives a fuck how many times it's been written? If it means something to you and it hits you,
Yeah.
who fucking cares?
Me, just simply because even though I brought it out, like,
But
I don't wanna
think
be
you
anybody
have,
else.
You have an inner
So-
struggle, an inner desire to, I want to be the most unique guitarist on the planet. I want to constantly write. That's not I'm meaning
No,
that as
I
a
know.
compliment.
I see where you're coming from.
I want to write shit that no one else has written before, and I want to be so unique that everybody knows that this is an original piece. Nobody's
I
ever
think
written
it's a
this
matter,
riff.
and I don't mean to make this about me by any means. We'll get to the next point, but it's a matter of how can I put all of my fucking influences into one, but then sometimes it'll come out to, well, this sounds too much like this one. Or this sounds too much like this one.
So
it's like,
this
how
is
can
a
I
great
find that
point.
middle piece?
I'll
ahead, Tyler.
speak on that because one of my biggest issues trying to write lyrics is every time I go to write lyrics to a song, I'll just kind of write out, what I'm feeling at the time, and I'll look at it and be like, man, I feel like that's a dime a dozen song. I
It's
feel
been
like that's
talked about. Yeah.
it's been talked about before. It's been talked about this way before. And you can only be so metaphorical with things before you're just way out in left field and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But like sometimes, dude, I'll listen to songs and I'm like, I feel like I've heard those exact lyrics, almost exact lyrics in another song. But god damn, it fits this song. It fits the mood, it fits the emotion they're trying to evoke, and it probably means a lot to that person.
And I think that's why I gravitate toward the music and the feel of the song more than I do the lyrics themselves.
Right,
but you
like
need to understand how much the lyrics mean to the song.
You also have to understand that there's not a melody or a harmony that hasn't probably already been done in some way.
Yeah.
In music at some point in the last couple hundred years.
Yeah.
You know how many
So
times the 5,
get
7,
the fuck
8
over it.
Oh,
scale?
Fucking God
You know
knows
why?
how many.
Because it fucking rips, my guy.
Somewhat, yeah.
It fucking rips.
I'm kind of sick of
And
hearing
all the-
it, but
the-
yeah.
And it makes people feel when you're
Yeah.
playing, it's
There's
a
a certain
blast.
feel to it.
Playing,
There's
it's a blast.
feel
That's
to
what
it.
so many people are like,
Yeah.
man, this fucking. I mean,
Well,
it
here's
hits
the
me.
thing: the 5, 7, 8. That is a
It's a scale. It's a-
minor.
it's
It's a
minor
minor
scale.
scale.
Yeah.
It is a minor scale pattern.
The Illyrian.
So
I can't remember how to pronounce it.
there's a lot of
No,
metal.
it's just a regular minor pentatonic.
There's a name to it. It's
Anyway,
I'm
there's a
sorry.
lot of metal that's based out of minor scales because it's more of a darker, eerie kind of feel to music, and major versus minor is something considered when you're digging into music theory
Yep.
of how to invoke motion and what emotions are you going to invoke, which is obviously something that Sleep Token has taken into consideration because they are using some minor scales, but then sometimes they seem to be using some major scales. But also there's been a couple of songs where I feel like they've done some key changes.
I was literally getting ready to say that.
And
I'm so glad you said that.
One thing in
Yes.
music nowadays is bands are almost afraid to change the key mid-song.
Periphery isn't.
And well, Periphery isn't.
No.
But at the
Neither's
same
Veil of
time,
Maya.
Periphery doesn't stray too far from it either.
No, they bring it back.
Veil of Maya
Yeah, they
changes
bring
their
it back.
keys too.
Yep.
But it's there's also times where you might think they've changed the key, but they might have just used more of the dissonant
I
positions
was gonna
within
say
that
it could
scale.
just be like a pitch thing.
Yeah, so there's, dissonant positions within a scale that you can use that
We're giving y'all Tyler's giving y'all an education.
you got 8 positions in a scale. Your 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th are your most harmonic. And then your 2nd and 6th position are your most dissonant.
Yep.
Unless you're
So
playing 2/7.
sometimes
That's an octave chord.
So anyway, yeah, doing different things within the scale, and the different chords that you can use out of those, diatonic chords you can use out of those, you can really fuck with the feel of a song while staying within that same key. But when you completely switch the key, you fucking know
It
it.
is a switch
It
up.
almost feels like a completely different
Well-
song. And I feel like Sleep Token has done that in a few songs where I'm like,
Summoning,
dude,
Ascension.
it
Bro,
is so
on a-
hard to do that and make it work.
And on a much smaller scale, there's an August Burns Red song I sent to you last year, and I don't remember if you remember this, but I think it was I'll look it up here shortly once you guys are talking or making a point. But I heard it and I remember hearing this and I sent it to you and I'm like, dude, just listen for the key change. Like, listen when they change this key. And this is, to me, was not popular for them at the time. And they
You have
played
to
this.
Tell me what song it is.
I can't remember.
Because I'm
You
trying to
probably
think of
haven't
a song
heard
that
it.
they changed their key.
You probably haven't heard it because of some of the newer-ish stuff. But it, like, when they changed key, like, it sat me back in my seat. Like, I didn't hear
Yeah,
that
'cause
coming. I didn't
Here's the thing.
expect that.
Bands jump from octave to octave, different variations within the same pitch, within the same, a different pitch within the same key. Been doing that forever, but there are several songs on this new Sleep Token record where there'll be a little pause, a slight pause where they completely, it's almost like you said, it's like two different songs because they completely change the key. But they give you a second to take a breath, and then they're like, they hit you with it, and you're like, oh, that's that's a whole different key, bro.
Yeah,
And it sounds good.
But to make it flow and sound good and kind of ease that transition
on
so
it.
that it doesn't. Yeah, they spit on it. Copyright, bro.
Copyright, bro.
I can't hear that shit.
Righteous Rod.
I'll throw a gate.
I love it.
I'll throw a gate.
Shout out
on the-
ABR, one of
on
the best
thing.
live bands I've ever seen. Just throwing that out there.
So yeah, I've kind of went into depth. My take was Sleep Token. What else do you guys have?
That's kind of all I had. I just, again, I do want to apologize because I have, talked an unnecessary amount of shit about them for no good reason because I was just too stubborn to actually give it a real shot and was really just annoyed at the fan base because they had, and I'm not backing down from that. I think that a lot of y'all Sleep Token
A little on the
hardcore
crazy
fans
side.
are a little much.
Yeah.
It's a little much.
A little weird.
It is a little weird. But you're passionate about it, and I respect the shit out of that
Yep.
because you're passionate about it for the right reasons. You're passionate about it because you love the music. You love that they are all about the music. You love the personas, the masks, the obscurity of them as individuals, and that's cool. So I being a man and apologizing for it. I love them. They are some of the best songwriters out right now, and I'm gonna keep jamming this new record because it's an absolute masterpiece. It's an incredible record. And I think that similar to, tying it back to our Day to Remember conversation, I think that they are a perfect example of one of those bands that's able to bring and has been able to bring multiple different fan bases to the metal genre and kind of bring them into this family. And I saw a tweet
It's becoming
today.
cool.
Metal has become cool.
It's becoming cool.
And it's so cool to see. I saw a tweet
it's
the other day.
because of bands
Preston,
like
I think
Adam
you
and
sent
Sleep
it.
Token,
It is
Beartooth,
Beartooth,
a little bit.
A Day to
yeah.
Remember, I
I
Prevail.
would say a lot of it is gym culture too.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep.
Most people in the gym
Yep.
are listening to some kind of
Yep.
metal or hard rock or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things that Preston, I believe you sent me a tweet today or yesterday sorry Tyler, that was about that what I just said about how metal is basically becoming cool and we're seeing all these new fans come in, and that's what we want, right?
Oh yeah, we
It's-
love it.
We, we don't want to be obscure.
want you
We
to
have
be a part of
lived-
this
We
with
have
us.
lived as metalheads
Yeah.
in obscurity for decades.
Yep.
We have always been the outcasts. We've always been the weird kids, the uneducated devil worshippers, like
Yep.
we've talked about on this show before.
Hail Satan!
And it's awesome to pretty much the vast majority of us, no longer feel like that because there's such a big culture now in this genre of metal. And we don't give a fuck about your subgenres. It's just metal, and we're all here for it. We all love it because, this ain't fucking radio country where somebody else is writing a goddamn song and you just got a pretty voice and you sing it or whatever it is. So, Tyler, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was sitting at Chipotle about a week or two
Love
ago.
Chipotle.
Chipotle gives me food poisoning every time I eat it.
Oh, that sucks
Wow.
for you.
It's delicious.
Hot head
Anyway.
burrito.
Ugh.
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 Anyway, so look, I'm sitting at Chipotle one day. I was on my way home. I stopped at an exit and grabbed some Chipotle nearby. Went ahead and sat down and ate because I didn't feel like driving the extra 15 minutes home.
It'd have been all soggy.
It had been soggy and somewhat cold.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there by myself at Chipotle eating my burrito, and this dude is in line cashing out, and I seen on the back of his shirt
The crescent
currents.
moon. The crescent
The-
moon.
the crescent moon.
Yes, you sent it to us.
And I like snuck out my phone and I was like looking around like, you know, I don't want to be a creeper here, but I like took a picture of it and I sent it in the group chat. This dude walks around and I swear it reminded me of Kyler May because he's wearing these nice ass like certain type of leather like almost square toe fucking cowboy boots kind of thing. And I'm like,
These are
this
work
dude
boots, homie.
is a fucking hick.
Yes, sir.
And he's wearing a current shirt with blue jeans. And he's walking in front of me, going to sit down somewhere. I was like, hey, what'd you think of that new album? And it's like he knew instantly. Like he took one brief millisecond to think about what the fuck I just said. He was like, dude, I fucking loved it.
Because
like
his guard probably
knew.
went up at first. When
He
you
just
called him out, you
knew
know?
what was on his shirt and everything.
Yep.
And so we sat there for like 3 minutes with him just holding his food in front of me while I'm still eating my burrito. So he's probably a little upset about that. But we were sitting there fucking talking about currents, and then he's seen this band and that band, and I seen this band and that band. We got to talk about how awesome it was. And, you know, Polaris had just dropped. So I was like, hey, man, you listen to Polaris? He's like, fuck yeah, I listen to Polaris. I was like, but did you listen to the new Polaris? He said, what?
New Polaris question mark?
He was like, I guess I'm about to check it out. I
Well,
was
you're
like,
fucking inhumane.
I was like, it's going to change your life. And then, you know, he went and sat down and whatnot. And then I went up and talked to him for a second. I was like, you know, you listen to podcasts at all? You know, listen to our podcast. Let us know what you think. But we've talked about that exact scenario on the podcast
Breaking the
before,
stereotype.
where one, breaking the stereotype, but then two, when you see somebody
Bro, it's a
out
brotherhood.
Instant.
there,
You're
Instant.
going
and they're wearing a
Yes.
band tee, and it's like,
Yep.
yep, we're best friends.
Preston's got him a moth shirt on right
Yeah.
now. That's fucking dope.
Yeah.
I love it.
I bought
But,
this
dude, it's
last year, and I think I wore this to a show we had played at the Buckeye City Sports. I had a couple
motorsports,
of people come up to me and talk to me about mom.
It is an instant. Anytime you see it, dude. I've done it so many times. I'll see somebody in a Motionless shirt, or I'll see somebody in an Era shirt, or whatever it might be, and I'm just like, hey man, that's metal as fuck. We got to talk about this because you and we're the same, you and me.
Yep.
It's
Sorry, go ahead.
It's just super cool. I didn't know that the dude was a fucking country boy, and that hits home for me because I've talked about it on this show before. Is I'm all about breaking the stereotype, man, and like I've talked about African Americans in metal. Like people see an African American, not everybody. I'm just saying there's a stereotype that all they listen to is hip hop or rap. I'm like, no. There's a lot of metalheads out there. One dude I follow on TikTok's a fucking 80 million times better guitarist than I'll ever be. He's an African-American guy. He's got dreads and everything, and that dude fucking shreds, and he's metal to the fucking core, and I love it. I'm like, more of that, please. Like, give me more diversity in metal. And I feel like metal is one of the most
Oh, yeah.
diverse
Yeah.
music genres out there, and I fucking love it. Because, dude, when it comes to music, fuck the fucking stereotypes, dude. Like, I get so, like, dude, and I get it at work. Like, I remember once, so we had, I'm about to, you bastard. So I'm about to take us down a slight rabbit hole. It'll be real quick, but we had a meeting.
Did you have something beforehand
No, it's
before he
fine.
does?
Go
Are you
ahead.
sure?
I'll remember.
Okay.
Okay.
We had a meeting in Indianapolis for work, and again, I work in the agriculture industry. We had a meeting in Indianapolis, and we were doing like this thing where we were kind of like trying to express our personalities through music. I was like, well, this is perfect. So everybody's got like an intro song, right? When they get introduced, and it's like fucking Luke Bryan and Taylor Swift and all this shit. Mine was Sovereign by Bleed From Within. And they're laughing because if you haven't heard Sovereign by Bleed From
it's
Within,
a banger.
you know what the fuck
Yeah.
it's
It
all
is a
about.
fucking metalcore masterpiece.
Yep.
It is Scottish metalcore at its fucking finest. And after the event, like, people were coming up to me like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I don't listen to country music.
Yep.
And they're like, seriously? I'm like, yeah. Like, no, I'm a fucking metalhead. Like, that's what I listen to. I listen to metal music. I'm like, it's so much better than anything else out there. Like, I promise you, I don't give a fuck what you listen to.
Yep.
What I listen to is better. And yeah, I'm going to be chesty about it because it's better. It's more complex. It evokes more emotion. It takes more skill. It takes more thought.
Yep.
It's better. Suck my dick. And there was just some people that were like, there were some people that, like, when it played, they were like, oh God, what is Sovereign? I'm like, I mean, I'm fucking headbanging. I'm like, yeah. I'm losing my shit.
Man, dude,
And-
walking in like it's a fucking WWE match.
I did, bro, and it was so cool. And I did it on because I could have picked a better. I could have picked a song that described me better because that song doesn't necessarily describe my personality.
Yeah.
But I was like, these motherfuckers are gonna know what I'm all about because
Yeah.
I hadn't met some of these folks before. And I was like, okay, Sovereign it is. And there was people that were like, you could see it on their face. They were like, ew, why is he screaming? And I'm like, because it's metal as fuck, bitch. That's why. So, but it's all about breaking the stereotype. People look, and I've said it before, and it's just like the guy you ran into at Chipotle.
Yep.
If he didn't have a Current shirt on,
I'd
would've-
assume
You had
he was
no
a
clue.
country
never
Yeah,
guessed.
no clue.
country bumpkin motherfucker,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
I would have been content with just, hey, I'm in Fayette County, so like
This
that's
is
what I
where we are.
normally see.
That's what
But
you
I
see.
seen that little crescent moon. I was like, it's like, oh,
You
I
seen
know
the
that
crescent
guy.
moon and that skull,
the
didn't
was
you?
like, oh,
drops.
God.
Yep.
we're besties.
Yes. So it's all about breaking the stereotype. We want everybody here. We want everybody. I don't give.
We might shit talk your favorite band.
We will, but that's what, dude.
That's
We go
okay.
back and forth, the three of us, all the time, and it's fine. It's all subjective, but it's just the umbrella of
Yep.
hard rock and heavy metal.
Be a
music.
part of it with us.
Be a part of it with us. I don't give a shit about your religion. I don't care about your race. I don't care about your sexual orientation. I don't care about
None
your
of it.
upbringing. You can find something in this realm, in this genre of music, that will speak to you. I promise you.
Yep.
Join us. The water's warm.
Mhm.
Come on in. Tyler,
The
you had
cookies
a,
are good too.
They are. The beer and the whiskey's
Where the
pretty
fuck
fucking
are the
great, too.
cookies?
Yeah, we got
In
cookies.
the house, bro.
fuck did we get ice cream?
I don't care your mental capacity. You come on in.
The Ringer is my favorite movie
No,
of all
so
time.
what I was going to say is I was at the zoo a couple weeks. I was at the zoo a couple weeks ago, and I seen this dude just booking it down. He was probably trying to meet up with some people. He had a Cryptic shirt on.
Oh,
No way.
Really?
Hell yeah.
I haven't heard shit from those dudes in like a year.
I believe they broke up.
That makes sense.
Yep.
But like, I seen him with that shirt, and I was literally like about to abandon my children and go track this dude down.
Fuck them kids.
But like he had just disappeared in the crowd, and I was like, for anyone that doesn't know, Cryptic is a local band out of Lancaster, I believe,
Yep.
Lancaster, Ohio. Apparently they broke up, but we played a lot of shows with them, and they were great dudes.
Yeah. good
Had some
people,
awesome
man.
songs.
Good people.
Very new metal, very like rap
Rap
and
metal.
hip hop infused, and to see someone repping a local band like that at the fucking Columbus Zoo out of the blue, I was like, that is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Yep.
dude. It gives you an awesome feeling inside when you see somebody out and about wearing a band shirt. Or, like, dude,
Even
when
a
you're-
local band shirt though,
Yeah.
I was like, fuck.
Like when you're driving down the road, and normally my music's always up pretty loud. I can't really hear what's going on, but sometimes I'll have the music turned down. I'll hear somebody jamming something that I like, and I'm like, I'll throw the horns up. I was driving down 71 the other day coming home from Iron Pony. I bought a new sound system for my bike, so I was up at Iron Pony. I was coming back, and I'm driving down 71, and there's this car. This was an SUV or something that had a Currents decal, had an Era decal, had all these different bands. Their decals on the back windshield. And I was driving by, and I just fucking threw the horns up out the window, and they threw them right back at me. It's like, bro, it's like the biker wave.
awesome.
It's a
It's like the
brotherhood,
biker wave.
dude.
Is it not?
Oh,
The
absolutely.
horns is like the biker wave.
Absolutely.
Dude. It's a brotherhood. You know it, you see it, you acknowledge it. You don't even have. It's an unspoken bond.
Yep.
It's an
Dude,
absolute
I
unspoken
was
bond.
on my way to an appointment one day down in Cincinnati and couldn't hear what the dude was listening to, but I'm like about to be zooming by this guy, and I can kind of
Was he losing his
see,
shit?
and he's fucking headbanging
yeah.
and shit.
I
And I
love it,
I
man.
slow down, and I got traffic behind me. I don't give a fuck. I
Fuck
slowed down. I like get window low. I'm like, fuck yeah, metal horns. And he was like,
Yes.
fucking kept going. I was
He
like,
knew.
yeah, let's go.
He knew. That's what it's all about,
nothing
man.
like it, dude.
There's nothing like it. And that's, again, we've talked about it so many times on this show, but it's all for good reason, because that's what this show is all about. It's all about the Metal Brotherhood. It's all about trying to get more and more and more and more people into it, because there is something for everyone here. It is the most universal, unifying, in a divisive world. This is something that can bring everybody together and
Same
speak.
as sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same as sports.
Yeah, dude.
Bo
no different
talks
with
about
sports. There is nothing.
Ultimate unifier.
There is nothing that can unify you like music, and we want as many people in this pool with us as possible. So, what a great conversation about A Day to Remember, Sleep Token, man. That was awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know these are both super popular bands, and I'm sure everybody listening is, if you're not a gigantic fan, you've at least listened to some songs, and maybe this will make you go back and dive into them a little bit more, and that's always our goal. So looking forward to having the guys from Sour Blood, the guys from Waste of White coming on. Before we get out of here, just want to make sure you guys don't have anything else you want to wrap up.
I'm just thankful that my thoughts about both of those bands were able to come alive in this podcast, because, like I said, I wasn't able to exactly put it into words, and I kind of held out for
Until
this
you got
podcast.
until the show.
Yeah, I held out for the show, and at the beginning I was honestly like, I felt like I wasn't able to explain what I was feeling or what I meant very well. But as the show
The
went
space.
on,
It's all about what
yes,
happens in
as
here,
the show
man. It's
went
magical.
on, like especially once we got into Sleep Token, I seen you guys light up, and it's like, that's why you fucking thought of A Day to Remember.
It's like putting wires
That's
together, bro.
exactly why he thought of A Day
Yep.
to Remember. So I'm just thankful that we were able to.
And it still does
bring it
that
all
for you
together.
after almost 20 episodes.
Yeah.
It still brings that to life. And that's
Yep.
what, Tyler, you said at the beginning of the show, if there's anybody out there listening that's local or somewhat close, that's a musician, that's a music fan, that's a loyal listener, that feels like this could be therapy for you, that you could come on here and have these conversations and let this shit out and
Come
lay
on.
some topics on, please let us know. We will make it happen.
Yep.
This is a show for the people, for you guys. This is not some fucking exclusive club.
Nope.
We're just regular dudes. And we had somebody comment on our YouTube, one of our YouTube videos, that said, you guys seem like some of the most down-to-earth regular guys that are just having a blast doing this. And it
what
was
it
the
is.
perfect
Because we
example.
are.
That's what we are.
It is.
This is we're just dudes being dudes. That's all it is. So if you want to come on the show, you got some shit to say, you got some shit to get off your chest, or you've got some insights you want to lay out, let us know. Even if you can't come on the show, shoot us a DM, drop a comment, do something. Let us know.
Give us topics.
We'll bring your topic to life on the show.
Yep.
We want to incorporate our listeners as much as humanly possible, because this is your guys' show just as much as it is ours. You guys are screaming idiots with us. So thank each and every one of you for listening and tuning in each and every week. Thank you to our Patreon subscribers who have given us their time and their $5 a month to get instant access to all of our content, as well as all of our bonus episodes that we do. If you want t-shirts, please reach out to us. Let us know. We'll make it happen. We'll get them shipped to you. Sizes small to 3X, $30 a piece. Let us know. Follow all of our social media handles at TSIS Podcast. Interact with us, please. We love interacting with
Bring
you
it.
guys.
Yeah, what a great show. Again, thank you all. We love each and every one of you. And until next time, we are the Screaming Idiots.
Peace, love, dove.